here yapping. So we're
Hey,
back with
family.
another. Oh, go ahead, girl. Take over. Look,
No, I was gonna say, hey, family, we back again.
girl, we ain't did this in a minute, little Rusty.
It's been a while. We over here praying and everything else. Just know we cover, y'all cover.
Right. It's been on for like 24 seconds now. Okay, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Standing on Business Ministries is back in the house. Sister Jamie is back in the house. We have a kingdom marriage word, a God ordained marriage word, a kingdom spouse, whatever you want to call it. God put it together and He's doing it. Okay, we got a word for you guys on today. Hey, Jenna. Hey, Grell. Um, so Sister Jamie's just gonna get us started. No, let me know. That's okay.
Sure, I can start. Okay,
Okay.
guys. So this is Make Them Cry lyrics by Drake. So if you guys feel led to go look it up or listen to it, that's the artist Drake, and the song is Make Them Cry. So the first verse or the first lyric in the verse says, I'm an only child, no one could have made another. So this doesn't necessarily mean actually, guys, they can feel all alone as if they might have three, four, five siblings and still feel like the only child because they feel misunderstood, right? And we all know on this journey that we experience a lot of things that other people don't experience, or that we start to feel a little crazy because God will talk to us about situations that He don't necessarily talk about with anyone else. Okay. Also, no one could have made another. It's only one of them, like it's only one of you guys, right? When God said, "I know you when I formed you in the room in the womb," I know every head on your head, every hair on your head. There's no duplicates. There's no replicas. Okay, so they're one of one.
Period. Okay, so I'm gonna do my breakdown of what I got from it, which is similar to Jamie's. How she said, "I'm an only child. No one could have ever made another." They feel like they put in more if they have siblings. It could be literal, like she said, but if they have more siblings, they feel like they have really put in work when it comes to their guardians, their mother, their father, whoever raised them. They feel like they did the most, and in some cases, feel like the other kids shouldn't even be claimed. God is working on the hearts of these spouses. Remember that too. But yeah, did you go over the I have the next lyric, the father thing?
No, but God gave me something else as you was talking.
Go ahead, girl.
So with them, I'm an only child. Like she said, like Jessica said, like that I'm an only child. Okay, so you guys probably have experienced this too, right? Like where you have a parent that call you for everything. You might have two to three siblings, but when it's time to take them somewhere, they call on you. When it's time to borrow something, they call on you. You feel like all the weight is on your shoulders, okay? So even though they might have other siblings, they feel like they are the only one that gets called on or singled out at times.
What she said. Thank you for the floating heart, Emily. Um. Oh, you can go to the next part.
Okay. I have to and treat my son's grandfather like my older brother. Okay, so that part where it says I have to father my mother, a lot of these spouses like uh, an emotional incest type relationship. If your spouse is like a male as far as it is with his mother, he might baby his mother in a sense. And what I mean by that is they could be on the phone with their mother, hey sweetie, how you doing? How this, how that, right? So they feel like they have to be their mother's protector. They have to protect her. They have to show up for her. They have to do everything for her, right? And that's why I said emotional incest, right? Because that type of relationship can even start to interfere with you guys' marriage or union because they're not willing to let their mother go. The husband leaves the mother and father and cleaves to the wife. They're not ready to leave her behind in order to come cleave to you. And that becomes a problem. But sometimes they can feel like this out of obligation too. And like I said, if there is has been emotional incest taking place, that mother will also make them feel guilty for moving on. And the part where it says, and treat my son's grandfather like my older brother. So if you break it down, their grandfather, their son's grandfather would be their actual father. So they don't feel like their father has been a father to them. They don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like they've had that leading when it comes to that male role model in they feel like they're more of a friend or a brother than anything because they've not had them teach them how to be a man. They feel like they've been on the same level age wise. It is not like, oh, this is my elder, this is my father. There's no respect level there because there has been no respect given or shown.
Okay. And to piggyback off of that, what the Lord had gave me about the lyric is, it says, I have to father my mother, which Jamie is on point with the emotional incest part. And it wasn't just the connection that the mother and the son carried, your spouse, if she's a woman, it would be the father, right?
Yeah,
But just overall, the entire family was operating in a standpoint of emotional incest. Like that was just a spirit that ran rampant or is running rampant in your spouse's life, right? And it says, and my son's grandfather, like my brother. God was reminding me of a video that I came across, and there was a man having a conversation with his son. And he was saying in the video that his son was helping him heal from childhood trauma that he had in that conversation. So things like that, like your spouse was used as a therapist from an early age when it came to his family members, down to mothers, uncles, grandfather, father, whatever, which is because they're chosen. So I talked about this
yeah,
before too. When you have the gift of healing goes beyond laying of hands. Like there's people that get deliverance and they get restoration from pouring out their testimony and the things that they've been through and you talking them through it, right? So your spouse has carried that anointing and it was basically, let's just say, abused, right? Or it wasn't because they were not aware of it. Some of them are currently not aware of it. It wasn't used to its full potential. Yeah.
yeah. And to
You're
be
done.
honest, to like piggyback off of what Jessica said, they could have even been gaslit, right? Because when you grow up in a family like that, they will use you for what they need from you at the same time telling you you're not good enough.
Right.
So it's like they went for them, like she said, for like, oh, I got this situation. What do you think about this? Or I'm dealing with this. They would pour their heart out to them, basically put their burden upon their shoulders for them to carry. But then at the same time, they wasn't good enough for anything else other than
Yeah.
being used for what they needed from them.
Yeah. That really messed with their confidence and they got codependent on others and how others reacted or accepted them and how to build their own confidence, character, and things like that. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. They constantly felt like they had to be on all the time, and that gets tiresome. When you can't be
Yeah.
yourself with your family, who can you be yourself around? And that gets tiresome because, like, I might not have all the answers all the time. I might make mistakes sometime. We're flawed and we're human. So they started to feel like they had to become a shell of themselves. They might have been sad, but and felt like they couldn't be sad. They might not have known the answers, but felt like they had to go out there and find it. Like they, and the thing of it is, when you are always the person who is the go-to person, you yourself have nobody to go to. They didn't have anybody else
Right.
to unload on because they were the ones being unloaded on.
Another
So
thing too is, go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off.
no, no, you're fine.
I was gonna say I'm doing my nails, y'all. So if y'all trying to figure out what I'm looking at,
Mhm.
it's my nails. I'm doing my nails. A lot of them felt like because they were like the scapegoat, because they were only getting accolades when they did something good, they felt like that you will never receive them because their own blood didn't receive them. So it was even harder to believe this whole kingdom marriage stance just from what they had seen their entire lives. Many of them right now need to cut ties with mothers and brothers and sisters and cousins and aunts and uncles and grandpas, but they're having a hard time doing that, right? They're literally, and some people are like, it's so easy to reconcile, so easy to return, but overall, they're going to cut these people off and trust that you're going to love them better than those people that the person that birthed them, the people that they came from. They're trusting that
Yeah,
you're going to love them better. So it's a very big leap of faith. Just a reminder.
yeah.
Popo.
Honestly, it truly is because, guys, some of you may have or may have not had to go through similar situations that we've had to go through, where we've been called to leave our families behind. They're being called to do the same thing. So, like Sister Jessica said, like they're going through situations where even if it was toxic, right? That's all they've known their whole life. So it's like God is telling them, like, leave this family behind. I have a new one for you. And sometimes, even though you know it's toxic, it's hard to leave what's familiar.
What she said.
So
Okay.
the next line says, the skies are gray in Toronto, they not a golden color. So, guys, this can literally represent a location or it can just represent themselves, but they're going through a lot of spiritual warfare right now. Whether that be the enemy sending confusion, whether that be like the enemy lying, whether that be them overthinking. Um, right now, they're not seeing any positivity in what God is calling them to do, but we know that there's a stretching.
Waiting for. Okay, now it's completely.
We also know that there's a stretching and a refining that has to take
I'm gonna
place,
need you to run it back
right?
because the whole live cut off, like the entire live.
Okay. So on the skies are gray in Toronto, they not a golden color. They're going through a lot of heavy spiritual warfare right now, guys. They're dealing with a lot. And sometimes it seems to get worse before it get better in the sense that you have to go through stretching. You have to be purged of a lot of stuff and delivered from a lot of stuff, right? So it seems very heavy right now. And they're really not feeling, and this is the thing, sometimes when we going through that, right, it can feel like God has left you, and he hasn't left you. It's just that at this point, he's training you and he's refining you. So there's certain parts of the journey that he will walk you through. And then there are certain parts of the journey where he will sit back and see if you're able to put into use everything that he has taught you and the tools that he has given you. And that's what they're going through right now.
Is it my turn? Because you look
Uh-huh.
at. Okay, so what I got the skies, the skies are gray in Toronto, like you said, it could be a physical location. Also, it says they got a golden color. Their spouse has a specific level of resilience. They have not had the easiest life. Okay, now everybody story is different. What was hard for them? There's some people that they never went through it financially, but death was occurring a lot in their childhood. A lot of people maybe they lost a parent, maybe lost someone like a grandmother, maybe they lost a couple of friends growing up, but they were able to keep their spirits up when going through these things. And now they may not even be experiencing death, but the lack of, having their spouse who is you there is really bothering them to where they can't even see the gold in the clouds right now.
So the next line says, I'm feeling like BTS because it took the whole career for me to be so discovered. So they also feel like they've been putting in a lot of work that's just now being seen. It's kind of like I was telling sis when we was discussing this before we got on. I said it's like that Mike Jones song when he said, back then you didn't want me, now I'm hot, you all on me. Like they feel like they've been putting in the work this whole time and they were not getting any recognition. Like nobody was, like sis said, sometimes it's so easy to only talk about what they're doing wrong, but they never heard, okay, yeah, you might have did this, but I love the way you did this. You're trying to show up. You have changed. You are getting better. They haven't been hearing that, right? So when you go from not hearing it to starting to hear it, right, it makes you wonder why now.
Or you need
So even
balance because
though
you become boastful because you never had it.
Exactly. So it can really work both ways, right? So, and yeah, because it says, because it took the whole career for me to be so discouraged. So they're like, oh, yeah, now you want me. You weren't checking for me then, now you want me. Which, like she said, it is boastful in itself because God literally sent us or assigned us to our spouse. So they make it seem like they're being chased. They're like, oh, she want me now. Now I'm so desirable. I'm this, I'm that. It's a God thing, right? But they feel like at this point, even though that they've been putting in the work or what they deem putting in the work, because there's a difference between them feeling like they got their stuff together and them working alongside God to actually get their stuff together. But they feel like they've been putting in work and now they're just now getting recognized for it.
Clock it. Clock it, sis. Because y'all, we didn't go over this. We knew that the Lord is speaking. Okay. Confirmation. All right, let me get going. Okay. Okay, so it says I feel like BTS because it took the whole career for me to be discovered. I back everything Sister Jamie said. But also what the Lord gave me specifically on this part is they didn't know who they were. Okay. So a lot of them couldn't accept how you viewed them because they didn't know who they were, right? So now they're waking up to who they are in Christ. Okay. Some of them, I'm telling you, God has been speaking to me about how much He's been wrestling with these spouses. They've been acting like Jacob when it comes to the revelation. I want to be Muslim, Lord. I don't want to sit.
Oh, Lord, I rebuke any and all witchcraft coming against this law, Father, anybody on this law, Father. No word against Islam may prosper, Father.
Why do we keep it off? Okay, in Jesus' name. Okay.
Girl, look, I
Amen.
just said it too.
Girls, don't make me speak tongues. Y'all know how to pull that out every now and then. Now, this is the thing. So they have not been wanting to confess the Lord, but their heart is with Him. Does that make sense, y'all? Their heart's already with the Lord. It doesn't matter their background. It doesn't matter what they've been going through and things like that. They've been taking heed to the voice of the Lord. They've been obedient. Come on, Lord, to the voice of the Lord. All right. They've been obeying the Lord in small things, and He's about to give them more. Right. So they're just wrestling with that. And there's so many different reasons on why people are not wanting to say that Jesus is King and all that. Right. I was watching a testimony. This girl said that they broke it down, God the Father and then God the Son. She said, and God the Son is part man. She's I'm not bound down to man. And it was like a snippet from the what is it called? Angel Cinema. It's like an app for faith-based movies, things like that. And it's like it gave me such divine insight on people's perspectives and so many different reasons why people don't want to confess the name of Jesus and so on and so forth. Hers was just the fact that He was part man and she refused to bow down to a man. But of course, she has a testimony behind that. I haven't watched it yet. But anyways, so it's just things like that. But like I said, I don't want y'all to miss that because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna say this. I wasn't gonna say this tonight because I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings, okay? There was a comment that was made, and I'm not talking about the specific person, just other people in general. I don't even think this part is necessarily for them. What I'm finna get into after I say the first part, I'm gonna get into the second part. I don't think this is for them if you're watching. They made a comment about their spouse thinking that the kingdom spouse dance was twin flame, but I mean the fact that they know that you're the spouse, right? You just didn't like the avenue of how they found out. There's so many people right now connected to my channel that you're watching false prophets. So you are getting words from the prophet Baal. You get what I'm saying? You're getting words from Python because they're manipulating what Lord has said and they're putting their own emotions onto it. But yet you're worried about them and false doctrine, but you're in it too. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, do not look at the speck in your brother's eye because you got a whole log. That's something you got to clean out ASAP. ASAP. That's an open door. You touch and agree with demons. You get what I'm saying? That false prophet, right? You better know that you know every person you're listening to is indeed from God. And once you take them back to the Lord, that don't mean stop taking them back for the rest of the year. You consistently take them back because they are mere human. Their heart posture can change. You get what I'm saying? But there's things like that people are, you're so focused on your spouses dealing with counterfeits, but you got a counterfeit word. You get what I'm saying? You got a counterfeit teaching. You got a counterfeit, in some cases, you're trying to be prophetic and you're literally an encourager. You're literally supposed to be sitting, laying hands on people, but yet you're operating. You get what I'm saying? So making sure you're in your own lane and not looking at the speck because there's a log. There's a log. You know what I mean? So it's just things like that. God consistently gives me that to keep me humble, and we have to be kept humble. Okay. But anyways, yeah, they're not having a good time not being away from you. They've endured death and things like that, but this hits different when they're missing their rib. It hits different when she's missing her head. It's hitting different. Okay. All right, Sister Jamie, take over.
But it also hit different too when you know that the things that you're going through, you created yourself. And it's the same for us, right? When
Mm,
God woke many of us up after we had already been out there in the world, we had plenty residue. That could have been bad relationships. So we had children with counterfeits or whatever else. Um, and whatever we had to endure, we had to go through that, right? This is the thing, right? We have free will. So whatever choices you make, God will allow you to bump your head to teach you that lesson. And whatever happened because of it, you literally have to work through it and deal with it. And it's the same thing with them. So they're already getting convicted just off that. They already know what they have done wrong. They've already been beat up in the spirit behind the demons and the witchcraft attached to it. And then they're getting like chastised by their father as well. So all they need
mm-hmm.
you guys to do is show them grace. Just show them grace. You know what I mean? Like if you feel led to pray for them, Pray, but not Prey for them, that's fine. But you can't force the hand of God just like you can't force their free will. So, just ask for the Lord's will to be done and to give them strength. But encourage them like a brother would encourage a sister, or like a sister would encourage a brother, because that's what they are to you first and foremost. You got to remember that agape love over everything.
I believe the blood over everything too,
I,
because we're on
man.
Corona
Girl.
virus.
So the next line says, I know for sure that my parents, they look at me and they see an overcomer. So this is the thing, guys. Like, just like you are the generational curse breaker in your family, your spouse is generational curse breaker. And just like you
Mm,
have a lot of people in your family that are sitting back and admiring you from a distance, or sitting back and obsessed with you from a distance because of the favor that God is showing you and has shown you and continues to show you. Their family or their parents are doing the same thing. Why? Your mother and your father had the same decision to make that you did, right? Let's say that Satan has tempted you with drugs and you have turned those drugs down. Your mother and father might not have withstood the temptation and they might have partook in that. But you were strong enough with God's leading to not fall into the same traps and pits that they did. That can cause jealousy. So their parents
mm,
might not have. A matter of fact, it says, I know for sure that my parents look at me and they see an overcomer. So they said, I know for sure. That can be God having told them, that can be from observation, but it doesn't say I was told. So a lot of them have not been told by their parents how their parents feel about them, that they're proud of them. They have not received a lot of encouragement. A lot of what they know comes from what God has shown them or because of their discernment or their observation, but not because
mm-hmm,
their parents have spoken it to them.
mm-hmm. They refuse to give accolades. They
Yeah.
refuse it. Yeah.
A lot of parents don't want their
Mm-mm.
kids succeeding in areas that they didn't succeed in. A lot of the parents don't want their kids making it further than they've made it.
Mhm. And also what's coming to mind too on the end of it when it says and see an overcomer, they've always seen that this baby, them as a baby, they were chosen. Same with y'all. God has already shown people, and that's why certain people attack you since you can remember. I remember enduring a abuse from a cousin, a blood cousin. Since I can remember, she would come up to me, touch my face real hard. She would grab my arm and things like that. They had people like that that mess with them as well since they were children.
Girl, my sister was one like that. Literally, she would leave marks and
Mhm.
everything else, just super hateful. So, like,
Yeah, I had
like
teachers,
sis
social
said, a
workers,
lot
all
of
that.
before you did.
Yeah.
And your parents, as a parent, This is the thing, guys. As a parent, you know your child, like, or at least you're supposed to, the ones that actually care, or even the ones that don't care. Certain stuff is obvious. So they sat there and they observed them, because remember, they were the ones that people went to and unloaded on and put their burdens on, right? So they're like, dang, how's he so smart? How did he always go through something but he bounced back? How his heart still pure even when it's broken, right? So they are observing all of this. So like sis was saying, they know or knew who you were, and they knew who your spouse was before you guys did, before they did themselves.
Right.
So this next line says, I'm looking back at them, and these days I see an older couple. So a lot of
Mm.
so this could either be, the older couple could either be your spouse's parents at, they might have had a two-parent household, right? And right now they're actually starting to notice things that they wasn't really noticing before. I'm looking back at them, and these days I see an older couple. A lot of things, guys, and this could even be like a reflection, right? This could even be them looking back and almost like wanting their parents, because you know how many of you guys have grew up in a broken home, right? And whatever mom would date somebody, you would get mad because you was wishing she was still with your dad, and vice versa, right? You always pictured them together even if they wasn't together, right? So that I see an older couple. This could also be your spouse picturing what could have been between his parents, or almost wishing he would have had that two-parent household or that relationship to be able to mimic, right? So it's like they didn't necessarily know that they needed that or even wanted that then, but these days they sit and reminisce or think on the fact, what if my parents would have grew old together? What if they would have had that relationship? What if I would have had both a mother and father in the home? How would I have turned out?
You done eating on that verse? Look.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Lord had dropped in my spirit, said I'm looking back at them and these days. God was speaking to me about He's been reminding your spouse of the way that they have treated you, the things that they have said to you, the things they have done towards you, the times that they tried to play with your mind, the times when they took you for granted. Some of them tried to even come and use you financially for, for financial gain. And this is becoming very annoying. Can you hear me?
Blessings. Yeah.
Yeah, golly. Okay, so they are able to see themselves grow old with you. Okay, that is what the Lord is saying. They are able to see themselves grow old with you. I spoke about this before too, a while back when I had entertained counterfeit, right? I said I saw maybe 15, 20 years of us operating, working together, being together, but I never saw forever. I never saw until death do us part with anyone I've ever been with. And right now, they can see forever with you. The Lord has been showing me the words forever and so on and so forth. But yeah, they can see y'all. Yeah, they can see the future with y'all. Something that they may have never done with anyone else before. They don't see themselves getting tired of you, growing sick of you.
Okay, the next one says, I see my only uncle looking like the ish that I ain't owning up to. Hey, that's what it's about. Say something else, but you know. I see my only
Yeah, I
uncle
know, but I just was laughing.
looking like that ish that I ain't growing up to. So that I ain't owning up to. So this is the thing, guys. So when God makes you aware of something, especially when something is on your bloodline, right? He will allow you to see exactly how it has not only affected your life, but your family member's life, right? So whether that if that's like children out of wedlock, right, or promiscuity, or drugs, alcohol, right, you're like, okay, this cousin had 5 children, she never got married. Okay, I have 2, I never got married, or my mama this, or my dad this, right? So they're looking at their family members, whether that be uncle, sister, brother, cousin, whoever is in the vicinity, and they're like, I can see my life on them. I can see me in them, and them in, and see their characteristic traits. I think where I got that from, because you an uncle is an elder in some sense, right? So they were taught what they were taught. It was passed down to them. It was a generational thing. So let's say uncle tapped them on their shoulder when they was younger and was like, man, never get married, never settle down, never be a one woman man, always keep you 2 or 3, always keep you one in reserve, whatever that was taught to them at the hands of that family member. They see themselves in that uncle, and they see that uncle in them, meaning they're able to realize and recognize the generational curses that were passed down at this point.
Girl. Cooks us, Jamie. I kid y'all not. Okay, so what the Lord gave me, I heard crackhead in the spirit, but I ain't gonna get too deep into that. That's gonna be a specific confirmation for somebody. You may know about one of your spouse's family members being on drugs or something like that. Now, it's different ways because the Lord, I went to the country today, right? And if for everybody that's familiar with country living, you know, some people out there are in the fields and they getting high, okay? But then there's also the hood version of actual people in the hood. If you know California, Oakland, California, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So it's different forms of it. It could be ghetto or it could be on some country stuff, but that's very specific. Now the part that's going to be for the mass majority, your spouse watched, and this is specific again, uncle specifically that traumatized them, that had them like, God was speaking about the evil heart posture that this person carried. This person was very evil, and now that they can see the heart, God is revealing to them the heart of people. They see that this person was operating in a demonic way, and they don't even want to own up to that, right? They take pride and joy in hanging around people that are good people, pure people, right? So also the Lord has given me something else. I don't know who this is for. Um, the uncle may have gotten married a few times, and all they seen was the person getting divorced and getting new wives and stuff like that, not realizing that their uncle was the issue for the divorces. It wasn't these women or whatnot, right? It wasn't the girlfriends or whatever. But he's highlighting marriage specifically to me. It was not um the women's fault. That person had a problem, whatever that problem was, right? And it didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah. Also
Big words, this is
realizing that other people's story is not their story, right? Realizing that they can choose to be different, and they write their own narrative as far as the choices that they decide to make. Because a lot of them didn't really realize, right? A lot of them pride themselves.
imagine being from
Okay.
Detroit.
A
So
lot of
slow.
them pride themselves on the fact that I'm not like him, I'm not like her. They didn't realize just how much in common they had with their family, with this particular person. And now God is causing them to be able to reflect on a lot of things. Like, dang, I do act like that. I have said that. I have moved like that. Like, so God is allowing them to see themselves in these particular family members so that He can shine a light on the stuff that they might not even have known what they were operating in. In order to be delivered from a lot of things, we have to admit that we have been operating in those specific areas and things, right? So God has been shining a light, Lord, a light on those particular areas in their life.
Girl, I
Good.
thought I was finished with my nails and I just got like this side off. So trying to be lazy and do them on. Okay. Um, and if he say, are you on the next one where it says, and he
Yeah.
say the way he felt, he really felt? You already went over that.
No, I didn't. I didn't know if you had something else that you wanted to say on the previous line.
Oh no, we waiting on Uncle. That's enough.
Okay. And if he said the way he really felt, I'd probably see his side because I'm old enough to. So this is the thing, right? And I'm gonna tell y'all this. So when you get older, or at least for me, right? I'm going to speak to y'all from the heart and the way that the interaction that I had personally with my own parent, right? When you get older, a lot of the stuff that you were angry about, or that you might have had a chip on your shoulder about, or that you might have questions about, you realize when you get older, right? Like for instance, right? If your parent moved when you were younger, you realize that humans, parents, are flawed. You realize that they have their own demons and their own spiritual battles that they were fighting, right? So for me growing up, dad was addicted to drugs, right? So a lot of the times he could not show up for me in the way that one other people's parents might have been able to show up for them, or two, in ways that I needed him to. Growing up, I didn't understand that. I felt like it was a personal choice. I felt like it was a personal thing as far as like why he couldn't show up for me. But when I got older, I realized that it actually had nothing to do with me, and he had his own demons that he was fighting, his own spiritual warfare and battle that had to be won. And by the grace of God, he overcame those demons, and he's been clean for some years now. But I went to him and I had to tell him, Dad, I know that you had your own cross to bear, and the way that was needed, but you couldn't show up for yourself at that. How could you be for me what you couldn't be for yourself, right? So on this line, when he said, and if he said the way he really felt, I'd probably see his side because I'm old enough to. Your spouse has been able, they have like an emotional maturity that's going on. So
Mm-hmm.
they, and a lot of them too had not forgiven. A lot of them too had a lot of chips on a lot of like things that was on their shoulders about things that took place in their past, right? Like let's say this uncle taught them something, right, that was wrong, and then they grew up later to find out that like, dang, my uncle steered me down the wrong road. They felt some type of way over that. But now, with them being able to be emotionally mature, right, and them thinking back on them, they're a father, have children. They also have to think about the way they've shown up for their children. If your spouse is
Mm-hmm.
out there in the street and he has a young boy, guess what? Chances are he's shown that young boy how to be promiscuous. He's shown that young boy, hey son, I've been with two, three, four, five, six women. If dad have not shown that son a steady, committed, God-fearing relationship, he himself has done to his son what his uncle did to him, or what that family member did to him. So now they have to admit to themselves, like, man, how can I sit here and persecute this person when I literally did the same thing, right? So they're saying, I'm old enough to understand this, not just old enough, but they are spiritually mature enough to understand this. Because when you get spiritually mature, when God gives you wisdom, you realize that everybody has a cross to bear, and now they're starting to understand.
Okay. 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 There was something you said that I wanted to follow up with, but the live cutting out made me want to slap somebody grandpa. So it says I probably see his side because I'm old enough to. So that's what it was, the spiritual maturity. Your spouse has been maturing. There's like a group of spouses that have been walking in maturity. And the word what the Lord had gave me was, if the Lord is the one that really gives you the behind the scenes on what's going on in people's minds and hearts and things like that. But your spouse is on the level of right is right and wrong is wrong. So they're able to see their faults, they're able to see other people's faults, like she was saying. And yeah, they're finally old. enough to get the full story without coming up with their own hypothesis and yeah, just taking it for what it is. And that takes a spiritual maturity to take things for what it is and move around. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter really who it is. The revelations that God has been given to your spouse in general about uncles, mamas, daddies, and all that, they're taking it for what it is. This person is evil. This person is whatever, and just moving based upon that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And they're realizing that it's not, you don't have to become a product of, because some more than often, right, you hear that, oh, he or she is a product of their environment, he or she is a product of their upbringing. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. That's just like some people that are the first people to go to college in their family. They're the first person to get married in their family. They are literally the generational curse breaker. So there's going to be a lot of firsts for them that they have not seen or that no other family member has experienced. That in itself can be a lot of weight, right? But they're starting to realize everything is a choice. I have a choice. I can overcome because I choose to overcome.
right.
The next line says, I'm looking at all my ninjas. They say, bro. So they're also realizing, right, that they have a lot of influence. They're starting to realize that they have a lot of influence. When you are put in a leadership position, whether you want it or not, because a lot of them wanted the title, but they did not want the warfare that came with it, the weight that came with it. Too bad. You, when you are on this journey with the Father, you can't pick and choose which journey of which part of the journey you're willing to accept. You accept all or you accept nothing. So they're realizing that they have a lot of eyes on them. They have a lot of people attached to them, and that what they do can be detrimental to someone else. Right? So they're starting to realize, like, man, I gotta shape up. I got a lot of people that's out here looking up to me. I got a lot of people who are expecting me to show them the correct way to walk, the correct way to behave, the correct way to act. And they do. And they're starting to realize that.
Yeah, what the Lord had gave me for this is I'm looking at all these ninjas. They say, bro, we love you. The N word meant ignorant, right? So they're able to see people's what's the name of it? What's the word for it? Intentions. They're able to see the intentions of people, and they're seeing the world for what it is. The world is very unintentional. People are around them because they want something from them, because they want to benefit off of something around them, because they want to walk in the rooms that they're going to walk into, things like that. And it says, bro, we love you. It's just fake love. They're not even hearing or seeing agape love. They're seeing a love that is conditioned. I love you if you maintain this. I love you if you give me this, if you have this. Things like they have homeboys that pay for their food, but in return they want something, right? So they've been heavy on the intention. God is saying that some of these spouses are seers, right? And a seer goes beyond having vision. The Lord will literally give you information. Anyway, so because they are a seer and the Lord is increasing that gifts, like I said, it goes beyond visions, right? There's open eyes visions, there's closed eye visions. People even have visions within dreams, right? And the Lord will also your sight on while you're awake and moving around, you will get downloads, you will get information sent by God, right? So they're able to see right through people, including family members. And it says, but all my words really what they gonna be, what they be going up to. Anyways, your spouse has realized that life and death lies in the tongue. Quite literally, the things that they speak have been manifesting. I remember as the Lord started to wake me up, I experienced the same thing. So I literally didn't want to talk. So right now, your spouse is walking into their prophetic gifts. Okay, if they are prophetic, that's very specific for some people. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, I'm gonna leave it right there. Go ahead, Jamie, take it
yeah.
away.
And to piggyback off of what she said, because I agree with everything she just said, because that's the same thing that the Lord gave me. But all my words, really, the ish they be going up to, they realize, like she said, that their words hold weight. And this is the thing: people want to hear what they want to hear. And for the longest, your spouses were telling people what they wanted to hear. Oh yeah, you can still love the Lord and have sex. Yeah, you can go to the club, worship Him on. He know your heart. He died for our sins. So yeah, you can go out there and sin. It's already paid. No, no, ma'am, no, sir. Now they realize that for every stumbling block or offense that they have became to their brothers and sisters, that blood is on their hands. So they realize, like, man, like she said, my words hold weight. And when you are like telling people what they want to hear, when you are telling half truths and not whole truth, people are going to grasp onto that. People are going to listen to that more than they listen to the truth most times. And they realize what they have been doing and they realize the weight of what they have been doing.
I was reading comments. Okay,
It says, feel
I
like
think the
40 won't
incremental.
even listen to my words when he knows I'm in a load of trouble. So your spouse, and like me and sis was talking before we got on, this can be God. This can be somebody that they confided in, maybe somebody that they would go to that would listen to them or give them advice. Just anybody that was in a position to really be around them. Like this is somebody that holds them accountable, right? And it says, won't even listen to my words when he knows I'm in a load of trouble. This is somebody now that when they do something wrong, they're like, look, I don't even want to hear it. You made your bed, you got to lay in it. Like, unless you're going to come to me and own up or take responsibility for the things that you have done or the things that you are doing, I don't want to hear it. This is somebody that is giving them tough love. A lot of people in their lives have been yes men, like they cannot do any wrong. That does not help anybody. Even if you don't like confrontation, or even if you feel like it's confrontational, you have to show people tough love sometimes, especially in order to grow, because growth comes in uncomfortability, not comfortability. So this person has been holding them accountable in order to allow them the growth that they need.
Mm. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Um, so what God gave me for this part is you and him. You, the standing spouse, God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Come on, Lord, get in it. Um, God has literally put you guys in a separation that He has ordained. Okay, He has separated your spouse from you because they didn't do well with you. They didn't do well with the little. He's not giving them more of you, right? So essentially, the Bible also says that like when a man basically can have his prayers hindered because of the way that they treat the wife, right? So Romans 1:28, I audibly heard the Lord give me this. Furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain knowledge of God, so God gave them over to a depraved mind. So they do what they ought to not be done. And I released another word today that allow for them to have what they think they want. God was like, they think they want the counterfeit, allow them to have it. They think they want the drugs, allow them to have it. They think they want the job, allow them to have it. They think they want the money, allow them to have it. The prodigal children, they think they want to rebel, allow them to have it, because He's given them over to what ought to not be done in the first place. God did this to me, and this my God had me running back to the Lord. It ties into First Corinthians 5:5. I'm going to pull it up real quick. God is not playing with these spouses. First Corinthians 5:5 states, gosh, Come on now. What the heck? Is that one? It's above me. Okay, but anyways, it says hand them over to Satan for the destruction of flesh in some versions. In others, it says hand them over to the hands of Satan and hope that they receive salvation. In other words, give them over to the devil so his demons can disrupt their whole plans, right? And it will destroy the flesh. The things that the flesh thought it wanted, the spirit man is going to pull up. Okay, and we don't want this. We need more of God. We need some structure. We need some, you know what I mean? And God will be able to take them in. That is to break them down, okay? So he can build them up. So, what was the other part? Sorry, Lord. There was another part to this. I probably see it because I'm old enough. First, no, I'm a load. I forgot. Okay, we just gonna leave it at that because I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah. And I mean, it's
But
just
yeah.
like
Oh,
any. Okay.
sorry.
No,
I just
you
remembered he put the spouses in a divine separation, and it's because they were disrespectful. They walked over you. They treated you with contempt. This is your season of justice. God is literally using this moment, the separation, to humble them, to bring them back to reality. A lot of them live in their own worlds where they were governor, they were God. You get what I'm saying? So like I said, the divine separation. When God brings them back, that don't mean let them in, let them walk all over, tell them all the stuff they missed out on. No, they missed out on it. You get what I'm saying? And it may be time before the Lord even allows for you to give them that much information. They have to try this over again and do well with the little again before they get more. Please use wisdom and discernment and don't go yapping and trying to give them everything they missed out on. Until God says otherwise, until God says the person is trustworthy, how will you know if he's trustworthy, whether or she's trustworthy? You will know by the fruit, baby. You're not going to question it because you're going to know that you know that you know, like a friendship, that this person is trustworthy, that you can share this information. A lot of people, too, in a stance, you gave your spouse too much and they hurt you with it. And who's really at fault? Say I give my spouse some information and he goes in an argument and he uses it. I was the one that gave him the information to weaponize. You got to take accountability. When you know better, you'll do better, you'll move better, right? So, anyways, now Jamie, you
Frank, to answer your question, you said, is it worth taking them back? The thing that we all have to realize, right? Just like they have free will, you have free will. So you do not have to. But honestly, when it comes to anything that God is doing, it would be in your best interest to, because you're giving God your yes. This is about them also, but it's more what God has for you, and it's more about the souls that are attached to this and the things that are being birthed through this union. So, I mean, that is a question that you would have to sit and ask yourself. Is it worth taking them back? Because it's kind of like, is it worth missing out on my inheritance? And that's a question that you have to ask yourself. Um,
I'm
oh,
wasting someone else. I was just to respond to that. Is it worth taking them back? That honestly, and I say this out of love, sounds so self righteous. That sounds so it's very selfish, it's very inconsiderate. Where were you on this walk 5 years ago? Where were you in general 10 years ago? Were you always the person that you are today? Because if God has did a radical transformation within you, you shouldn't even be saying stuff like that because you know where you've been and where you're at now. So it's like when it's finished, yes, but a lot of people are wanting it now. You want the food raw. You want the salad with no dressing. You want it with no seasoning. Like you want it now, and that's a problem. It to myself. So I just want to put that out there. When I'm checking myself, it's
it's just
hard.
another thing that has to be realized too, guys, is that just like you are the son or daughter of God, so are they. And sometimes God is our, he deals with us as a father, right? So think about when you guys were a child, right? Did your mom and dad tell you no to some stuff? Let's say if it was a girl or a boy you were dating, and they told you no to something you couldn't have or something you couldn't do, did that stop you from doing it? Or did that just make you want it more because you got told no? You had to get burnt out on it. You had to bump your head and learn. You had to get your heart broken to see that it wasn't for you. It was no amount of talking that your mom did to you. There was no amount of punishing it was the fact that you literally learned it wasn't for you. And not saying that God couldn't snatch them up, but sometimes the greatest lesson is in the affliction or whatever pain or heartache that they cause themselves by going outside of God's will to do the things that they think they want to, because that's the biggest lesson in it all. So when they come back, they will know without a shadow of a doubt that what God has for them is better. Why? Because He allowed them to settle, and it was not what they wanted, and it's not what they thought they wanted or that they needed. So you guys literally have to be patient. You don't want to get anything or anybody back prematurely. So it says, I'm in the cut just loading rebuttals. And I got a bunch of hits on my hand. See the swollen knuckles. They were not in a heart posture to receive. They were listening to respond and not listening to receive, whether this was conversations that you were having with them. This was even them sitting and talking with God, right? Well, so and so in the Bible, or so and so over here, or my mom or my brother, every time God tried to get through to them, they would bring up something that the next person did, or that the next person partook in, or God, why you didn't get them back? Why you didn't get, they were not listening to receive, they were listening to respond. And when it says, I got a bunch of hits on my hands, see the swollen knuckles, they were boasting and they were bragging. People that tried to come at me before, I'm used to the spiritual warfare thing. I'm used to fiery darts being thrown at me. I've overcome every challenge that the enemy has thrown at me, right? They're boasting and they're bragging, and they're not realizing God has been behind it the whole time. Like that footprints in the sand type of moment, He was carrying them. What they thought that they were doing on their own was actually God protecting them and showing them grace.
Yeah. Let me go over the lyrics again. I'm in the cut low and rebuttals. What came to me was the scripture, but you know how it says be slow to speak and quick to listen. They were quick to speak and slow to listen, right? So God is highlighting that they're gaining emotional intelligence. You don't want your spouse back without them having that. You don't with some type of awareness of it. They don't need to be perfect and know exactly how to talk their way through it, but they need the basics. Be slow to speak, be quick to listen in order for you guys to be able to dwell together, right? And cohabitate. It says, and I got a bunch of hits on my hand to see the swollen knuckles. They were the type of boasters that no one would even ask them, they would just tell them. That's how deep your spouse was into their boastingness. That's how much they thought of themselves as a god. Okay. Some of them were into 369 manifestation. Some of them were into just manifesting in general. Some of them is just so many influences. You'll see that both an age will say you're a god and you're a goddess. You see the coming up, right? Screaming real loud for the world. It's cutting out right now. But anyways,
Yeah.
I try to tell him
Thank you
it's
for
working
answering
out
her, Camilla.
for spirit show. I don't see why we can't pray after we're done. That's why I shake my head, yeah, when she said it. Because there's power in two or more touching and agreeing. On this Kingdom Spouse journey, there's not many people that even knows about it. So trying to get two people, one can make 1,000 flee, two can make tens of thousands. So imagine 11 people on live right now. You get what I'm saying? Like it will be very heavy. We'll be hitting hard in the spirit. That's why I shook my head. Yeah, but I didn't want to cut Sister Jamie off, but I don't mind afterwards. I don't want
But
her to go
yeah,
through the throne to the throne by
this is interesting, especially from guys. I think that it's important to remember is that, like we
it was
stated
cut out the whole
earlier.
live show.
Okay. No, I was going to say, guys, that something that's important to remember is, like we stated earlier, a lot of them did not get praise for the things that they were doing right as a child. They only ever heard negativity. So when you guys talk to them, some of the time they're still stuck in that flight or fight mode when it comes to their trauma. So they automatically, you can be actually encouraging them. You can be actually telling them what's right. But all they hear or all they are able to hear is that all you're doing is complaining. I can't never do right in your eyes. I can't never do this. I can't never do that. And it's because of how they grew up and the things that they have experienced and are used to from their past. So sometimes the way that they act, I know that you're flesh and you're human and it hurts, but it actually have nothing to do with you guys as much as it does it being a learned behavior. But that's something that God is working on them with. That's why he's literally going toe to toe with them guys, and he's challenging them to their ideas and their beliefs and the way that they've been carrying themselves.
Yep. She said, "Are we
Did you
going to
do
the
the
next one?"
part with the swollen knuckles?
Yeah.
Okay. I try to tell him it's working out for me now. He say, then show your muscles. So they've been trying to flex, guys. Like I said, they've really been having some back. Did you say shush? Oh, but yeah, guys, they've been having some back and forth moments. Um, Even kind of wrestling with God, if you will. I try to tell him it's working out for me now. So the lessons that God has been trying to teach them and the things that He is bringing to them, they always have a response for. They're like, they have been so combative in certain areas, and God is like, okay, you say it's working out. Show me your muscles. Show me just how strong you are. Show to me and prove to me that you can walk this walk by yourself. Then, if you think things are working out, if you think that you're able to do this on your own, then prove it to me, right? Them like he's trying to get them to see they're not as strong as they think they are, as far as them thinking that they've been doing the work alone, because they haven't. They think that they have been carrying everything. I'm the reason why I did this, and I'm the reason why I did this, and I'm able to. And God is like, no, show me your muscles. Show me how strong you really are. If you have been carrying yourself, because you haven't.
Yeah. This reminds me of Jonah, right? This. Oh, are you done?
Yeah, I was done.
Okay.
I was
It reminds
laughing
me of
because I saw
Jonah,
the new line.
girl, because his nail was on cricket, but whatever. Jonah was literally telling the Lord how angry he was about the plant, right? And the plant, God had it wither, right? So this reminds me of when the Lord spoke to Jonah. He says, "Is it right for you to be angry about a plant that you did not prepare?" Right? And Jonah did not respond. Even in this lyric, it says, "I try to tell him everything's working out for me now." Your spouse is basically having conversations with God, and I don't think that your spouse is taking God serious. And I got a word too that said, you hear the Lord, but you don't think that you're actually hearing the Lord, right? And yeah, it's like they have an awareness, and I did too. I did the same thing too. I had an awareness, but I didn't really think the true and living God was speaking to me. I thought I was just having fun with the voices in my head. But anyways, yeah, it says, yeah, show me your muscles. They're telling God things, and God is asking them for proof, and then they're not responding. Prove to me that you're still as strong as when it's only us too. God hears the type of prayers that they're praying, and some of them are not even praying it verbally or even out loud. Others are thinking it. It's heavy on the. They didn't know how much, like how powerful the Lord was. They didn't take Alpha and Omega serious. And God is quite literally answering their thoughts out loud. So they can know that
Yep,
the Lord knit them. And when the Lord knit them, He knit their minds and all that. He's showing them that part of Him now.
definitely. And sis is right on the money because she was talking, that's what he was downloading to me. I watched something earlier where they were talking about having a healthy fear of the Lord. They don't have a healthy fear of the Lord. They really think, and I use this term all the time, so bear with me. They literally think God is gummy bear. Like, oh, he won't do this and he won't do this and he won't. Yes, he will. The same God that will give you grace, the same God that will elevate you, will sit you down. Yes, the very same. And so, like she said, they don't have a healthy fear. They don't have a reverence and respect for God. They're like, yeah, oh, he who he is, he this, he that. But when you have a healthy respect for God and a healthy fear of God, you respect him too much to play with him. You respect him too much to even come close to purposely sinning. Notice I said purposely, because there's a thing as willfully sinning. Not, oh, I slipped, I'm trying, no, they are purposely playing in the Lord's face. And that's a difference, right? Because they don't have a healthy fear of the Lord. You guys still hear me? Because I
All
don't know
right.
if it cut off.
I'm like, are you
Okay.
done? Because I'm not. I didn't. I turned it off. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you turned it off or, but yeah, they don't have a healthy fear, and or they didn't have a healthy fear, but that's something he's literally putting the fear of him in them. So that's what's happening right now. Um says, prove to me that you're still as strong when it's only us two. So he's like, when I take everybody away from you that has been like uplifting you and basically enabling this behavior. When I take your yes men away from you, when I take your cheerleaders away from you, when I take these people away from you that have been idolizing not only you but your behavior, let's see if you that strong. Because the thing of it is, God can reach you and get to you. God reach is long, okay? So he's like, prove to me that you're still as strong when it's only us two. God knows your deepest, darkest secret. He know who your spouse is at their very core of them, without the clothes, without the money, without the entourage, without the family, without the friends. When it's just him and your spouse alone, he knows them. And he's like, let's see how strong you are when it's just the two of us, one on one. I'm done, sis.
Show me your muscles. Okay. You can go to the next part,
Thank
unless
you,
you want me
Shirley.
to start doing it first.
You say what?
I said you can go to the next part, unless you want me to start doing it first.
Okay. They know you. They know you thorough with bread, but there's some ish you got to pony up to. Basically, he's saying, I got growing up to do. I got to dig deep.
Mhm.
So God is like, okay, you have proven to me in some way, shape, or form that you have done good with monetary things that I have given you. Whether that have been them maybe like taking care of a few people, hitting a few hands, or stewarding the money correctly, whatever they have done, the father is like, okay, you've proven to me a little bit when it comes to money, but there's still a lot of stuff you got to own up to. Like you still have not been obedient. You still have not done the things that I have asked you to do. Or if you have done them, you done them halfway or not in the right heart posture. You didn't do them because you wanted to or because out of the right heart posture, right? You've only done them to say you did them. So he's like, there's still a lot of things you got to pony up to. There's still a lot of things you have to work on. You still have to take responsibility for a lot of things that you have done. You still got some growing up to do. You've grown up a little bit. I give you that, but you still got more to go. You got to dig deeper and give more.
Oh man, I'm trying to find the scripture that the Lord gave me back a while back, right, where He talks about with withholding deliverance from the person, from the accuser, right? So the Lord will, I know it's in the word of God, I can't think of it, y'all. I'm telling y'all it's in there. The Lord will literally withhold deliverance from people until they go and they're accountable. Now, mind you, deliverance is given to people who are already accountable. When you get deliverance, you have to say the things that you've done that maybe you don't want to talk about. There's a level of spiritual maturity that is required in order for you to even receive deliverance. So when he's saying like this would technically be your spouse speaking, it wouldn't be coming from God, but there's some stuff that your spouse has to own up to, and one of the things is them going and returning to you, whether you receive them or not. I know it probably blow a lot of people's mind how many people's spouses have returned to them and apologized and they did not receive them, but they still did what they're supposed to do. And in that case, if your spouse was to return to you and you don't receive them, they still receive their deliverance. They still would not be withheld their birthright. You get what I'm saying? Because of you. You get what I'm saying? God literally says, I raise up kings and I depose kings, right? He can do that with queens. We've seen him do it with queens, right? So it's just things like that. That's just a reminder, right? A lot of people are like, can you get a replacement? You can, or you can be the replacement. So it really just depends on your heart posture and how you've been moving on this walk. Also, yeah, your spouse basically is not going to receive deliverance until they go and do this major thing. And because like how I was talking about Romans 1:28 and 1 Corinthians 5:5, they're going to want deliverance. So like I said, it's up to you if you receive them or not. Just going to put all the pressure on you now. No. But yeah.
I mean, that's what I was about. Not only do they have to take responsibility, but that deliver it's some things that can only be broken off for you guys as spouse when they come in agreement with you. Where two or more are gathered, can two or more walk together unless they be in agreement, right? So they literally can only break certain things off of themselves and be delivered from certain things through coming into agreement with you guys, because you guys are going to help heal them the rest of the way. Confess your sins one to another. That ties into their deliverance. They have been trying to halfway do stuff by trying to find other avenues to get stuff done, or halfway doing stuff, and they cannot breadcrumb you, nor can they breadcrumb God. They have to do it in the way that needs to be done, and they have to own up to it. So the next
Yeah, but
line
remember,
says,
God is
guys,
not looking for perfection.
exactly, but he is looking for obedience and no excuses, right? Because the thing of it is, you guys, a lot of you guys have done the work. God is like, look, your spouse has done the work. They might not be perfect, but they get up every day and they give me their yes. They're putting one foot in front of the other, and they're doing what I have asked them to do. So the other line, guys, says, I really hate those two words. They never bring peace. Those two words are dig deep. They hate to hear those words because they know it's going to be painful. They know what comes with digging deep. To dig deep, you literally have to uncover everything that you have stuffed down, that you have tried to forget, that you have tried to move over. God is not allowing them to do so. They know that there's no, and this is the thing, they assume that there's no peace in it. They don't realize that digging deep in the long run is going to hurt in the beginning because they have to heal from it. But in the long run, it actually will bring them peace. It's actually the one thing that will bring them peace is digging deep, because in order to be delivered from a lot of things, there's a lot of things that has hooked to the bloodlines. There's a lot of things that have hooked to them. There's a lot of things that if they will not deliver themselves from it, that will hook to their children, children, right? There's a lot riding on them really getting to the center of what they have went through so that they can be delivered. Generations will be delivered from those afflictions, okay?
What she said. Okay, so The Lord was speaking
Thank you,
to me about
Karen.
the digging deep. I got to a point, like maybe a year in the walk, and I thought that I knew a good amount of stuff, and then the Lord started downloading. And some of you guys are familiar with it. When the Lord starts downloading, it becomes overwhelming, and then you're like, man, I got to work on this on top of this on top of that, right? And he was going back into gifts that I thought were already pruned and pruning them more. So your spouse is like feeling like they're never done. And the Lord had told me this audibly. He said, never get tired of learning because no one knows everything. And he said, always remember that when you get older, never get tired of learning. There's going to be certain things that, because doctors are in their profession, they have a big amount of wisdom in, right? There's going to be a person that's in another, a different field that have wisdom that you don't carry. So no matter who it is, even a doctor doesn't know everything, even a lawyer doesn't know everything, right? Plumber, so on and so forth. But they are so gifted in that specific department. And God was just speaking to me about that. He will start directing our attention to different places, and we feel overwhelmed. We're like, man, this is a lot that I have to do. But just remember that he'll have you work for a season, rest for a season, work for a season. He'll isolate you for a season, pop you out for a season. A lot of people think that like certain seasons are just one time. No, he could
Man,
put you in the
and
same
that
season
and that
10
actually
years from
goes
now
to
too.
where glory to God on the intelligence and the articulation because it comes from God. Like sis said, we were on the phone before we here and music was playing and we talking to each other. Like God was just firing. So when we get up here, this is not rehearsed. Like we might
We're
we
thugging
might
it.
go to one another and be like, is God telling you this or is God telling okay, cool. Then I heard that too. That's the most. But when we get up here, it's coming, it's fresh manna straight from God, straight from Holy Spirit, straight from Jesus. Like he gives it to us. So it's the same way with the spouses, right? Like she said, it's different seasons, it's different lessons, it's different levels. He like there's certain stuff that he will like spoon feed them a little bit, that he would ease them into the next level of what he has for them. And then there's times when he would give you crash courses and stuff. So they have to realize like the job is never done. Even when these unions come together, they're coming together for a bigger purpose. And they realize that. And that's some of the weight that they're feeling. They're like, dang, so even when I get the wife, I still got more to do. It's you do.
Yeah.
You do.
He's going to prune us while we're together too. And that's going to be very hard
Yeah.
because you're
It's
going to
going to
get your
be
mirror put in
waltzed.
front of you.
Man, it's gonna
It's
be
going to
waltzed.
hurt
They gotta
feelings,
go their
egos,
own.
prides. Yeah. I heard the Lord say, wait till they find out that the person doesn't lust them. That hits different because most people they will fold because oh, you're so beautiful, you're so this, you're so handsome. They will fold. Your spouse is not going to be on that type of time because this is a God ordained connection. You being pretty ain't going to get you out of it, right? You know, even for when marriage happens, that sex is not going to be the reason why they stop. Get out of their emotions, right? They're going to want to make it better with their other half. You're going to have that hard conversation for the first time
Yeah,
before y'all go to
definitely.
bed. You know what I mean? So,
And see, this is the thing too, and I'm glad that you said that, Jessica. So I'm going to speak directly to the people that are waiting and might be a little impatient or might feel like y'all want it now. What happens when your spouse come back and they don't necessarily act in the way that you expect them to act? You guys ain't seeing eye to eye. You guys had a little argument or you guys had a little disagreement. God has to create in you long suffering, even for these marriages, because it's not going to always be rainbows and sunshine. You could not have a disagreement with your spouse and be like, sleep on the couch. You got to get put out. I want to get divorced tomorrow. No, this is for long term. If you can't steward this time correctly, how are you going to steward eternity correctly? This is a lifetime with your spouse, not this is not for play. This is not for play. So if you can't show them grace now, how are you going to show them grace when they leave the toilet seat up? When they create a mess in the house? When they don't steward the finances correctly? When you don't see eye to eye on the children? These are going to be conversations that are going to have to be had. And God don't need you jumping ship
mhm.
every time they do or say something you don't like. Just a little something that the Father wanted me to throw in there. So the next line
Yeah.
says, I'm at the Bulgari in Turkey with my itch. Come here for no big teeth, nah. I came here to turn a new leaf and maybe finally get some sleep. So a lot of them thought that peace came. So a lot of them thought the best way to get over the old chick is to get under a new chick. Okay, just plain and simple. We ain't come here for no big teeth. We ain't come here for no conversation. We didn't come here to be talked at. I didn't come here to be reprimanded. They were not trying to hear what the Lord had to say. I came here to turn over a new leaf and maybe finally get some sleep. They thought that they were making a decision for themselves, yet again for themselves, to start a new leaf with somebody new, somewhere new, switch locations. Whether that could have just been vacation, that could have been them actually trying to, let's say they moved in with this person briefly. Don't get y'all stuff in a twist. Don't get, don't get upset, because whatever it is, the Lord is still involved in it and he's already dealt with it. But they thought that getting with somebody new was going to be that new leaf or that new start or that new beginning that they needed, and that was going to come with rest. And it doesn't. Just like when Ruth was in the field, and Naomi told her that Boaz would not rest until the matter is settled. It doesn't matter how many chicks they go out there and get with. It don't matter what kind of vacations they try to do, what kind of running they try to do. I I didn't come here for no big teeth. I didn't come here for no conversation. I didn't come here what you think, for you to tell me what you think I ought to do. They didn't want to hear it. They thought that what they did and the decisions that they were making was enough. And it's not. You're not going to get no sleep doing what you're trying to do that's going outside of the will of God, period.
Girl. That's a whole chunk to say. If it cuts out, y'all just know we're coming back until the word is ended.
She said,
All right,
Cheryl.
so it says, I came here, turn a new leaf, finally get some sleep. Okay, so God was speaking to me about your spouse coming back, confessing, so they can finally get the rest. AKA, remember we were just talking about deliverance. They know that deliverance will be connected to the confession. They rather do what they're supposed to do so they can get some rest. They have not been able to rest spiritually or
Cheryl,
physically.
Cheryl had a question. Says, I don't think she heard that verse all the way through. She said, "Did you say
Yeah, I'm
Turkey
going to say
and
it
Ish?"
again. Yeah, well, I had to read it over. That's why I was like, I'll just wait till I get there so she can hear
Oh,
it
okay.
again when I say it. I'm at Bulgaria in Turkey, at the place in Turkey, with my B, and we ain't come here for no big teeth, nah. Okay, so remember when I first started YouTube, I would always do the etymology version of the B word. Well, the Lord brought that back to me, and they're dogs that were used in order to protect the field, to protect the crop, essentially, right? So some of these counterfeits that these spouses are popping up with are actual church members. They go to church, whatever the case may be, yada yada. That really doesn't matter because many are called, few are chosen. They more than likely are called, and call people. This is just my analogy for it. It's like God calls them on the phone. They answer sometimes they hang up. Some people put them on D&D. That's how they work. Chosen on the other half are not doing that. We're answering, we're calling him back, we're seeking him diligently, we're talking to him consistently, things like that. So there's some people that you feel like this person is of competition because she's out of God, da, 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 da. She's lukewarm more than likely. So, and even if she's not lukewarm, she may be having beliefs that were, if her belief system is faulty, in other words, she's believing in things outside of Christ, meaning she's cheating on Christ spiritually, okay? Or he, for the brothers out there. So just to get deep into it, and we ain't come here for no big tea. Some people, you're like, okay, I know I have the emotional intelligence, yada yada. Giving people emotional intelligence that cannot carry it is not emotionally intelligent. Does that make sense? Telling a person a whole paragraph and communicating very clear is still not going to be effective because that person does not have the capacity. The Bible literally says if you respond to a foolish person, you're more foolish than the foolish person. So learn to just be quiet when it comes to these people that are not receiving you well. Dust off your feet and move around, quite literally. There's so many people that are looking at the speck in someone else's eye, but you can't see the log in your own eye. All right. And it says, yeah, we ain't here for no big teeth. Spouses that are hurt or whatever, unhealed people in general only hear with their wounds. So therefore, you communicating effectively and clear just sounds like yapping. That's all that sounds like. So your spouse may even be looking at you as a nagging person because you've been just communicating so well. Stop talking to them. Go into the separation. Allow the silence to speak. But yeah.
Another thing, guys, you were hand chosen by God for your spouse and vice versa, right? In the same way they were hand chosen for you. That is just not God saying, okay, they are aesthetically pleasing. They fit, their personality or things of that nature. No, that's you being able to withstand everything that the enemy has thrown at you. The enemy has tried to get you to step down. The enemy has tried to get you to curse this promise and let it go. And some of you guys, especially if you're on here, have been holding on. Anybody can be used. The enemy will use the people closest to you because these counterfeits are not anointed and appointed to this. They can be used, and a lot of them are being used. What does that look like? You are used to encourage your spouse through the leading of the Holy Spirit, God, and Jesus Christ. You are used to love your spouse. God loves your spouse through you. The counterfeit, not so much. Why? Again, they can be easily used. So what does that look like? Oh, I'm going to, be a stumbling block. I'm going to be a stumbling block to them. I'm going to encourage them to possibly do things that are outside of God's will. I can, not cover them. They are not ordained to cover them in prayers. They are not ordained to handle the spiritual warfare and the demons that come with it. They are not ordained to break or nor be the generational curse breakers. So whatever your spouse is going through is going to be too heavy for them, nor are they going to understand the level of divine gifts that your spouse has. Some people only go this far in their relationship with God. When it comes to the things that God is calling us to do, He has elevated us and is going to continue to elevate us. And most of these counterfeits cannot go, if not all of these counterfeits cannot go where the Lord is taking your spouse. Period. Did you get a new leaf verse?
The new leaf. New leaf finally got some sleep, but all I can think is mountain climb. Oh no, I didn't do that part. I was gonna say something too. When people say stuff like that, when it comes down to the spouses, when they're like, when they're speaking about communicating with a person and things like that, and how good I've talked to so many different people on this human spouse journey, and they will say all the positives that they do, which immediately the Lord will highlight that this person has been only giving themselves accolades about the positive things, and they don't even give their spouse accolades for the little bit of positive that they do, right? And what people are doing is programming themselves to only see the good in themselves in this relationship. Many people would have messed it up already off of that type of mindset. Never giving your spouse accolades. Your spouse may have 10 bad conversations with you, but the one, and I'm not saying like out loud say it, because some of them are wrestling with pride and ego and things like that. Hold on, let me block him real quick because he keeps yapping. So they're already wrestling with pride and ego. But when you get to speaking about this situation internally, Giving your spouse the accolades that they deserve will help shift your mind from them always and only doing negative. Because a lot of people don't realize you don't like your spouse, and that's why you're having a hard time agape your spouse. That's why in the separation you can't love them unconditionally through their foolishness, because you already have this persona. When you don't like someone, nothing they do is going to be good enough for you. Okay, when someone doesn't like you, nothing you do will ever be good enough for them. They cannot see the positive things that you're doing. So people got to shift their minds to that and take out the intimate portion. I keep saying that, and God is highlighting that heavy. Take out you and your spouse being together. See them as a friend forever and ever and ever. Quick, get the whole I'm quick to cuddle. Some people only want this promise because you want to have sex. You've been celibate for so long. You're ready to get some butt or whatever. You get what I'm saying? And it's like you're rushing it and you're being selfish because you're not thinking of the bigger picture. You know what I mean? Like really pull yourself out of it, because most of the people on this walk, it's not that you're a selfish person. It's in this specific category. When it comes to kingdom marriage, you have did so much prayer and fasting and sacrificing that you have got things out of alignment in this specific category, and you got to get it right. You got to get it back in order.
Yeah. And this is the thing, guys, and I kind of just spoke on this a while ago. Like, the thing about it is too, like when you guys come together, there's going to be a lot that is expected of you guys, right? That for better or worse, sickness and in health, like sis said, if you only get married because you want sex, what happens if you guys are too busy to come together in that way? What happened if they're, maybe you got a conference in another city and they're back at home? What happens if somebody gets sick? What happened if that person loses their job and then you become the breadwinner? There's going to have to be a friendship, a solid foundation built on God before you guys come together. Because if not, that foundation can be easily destroyed. That covenant can be easily
Exactly.
destroyed. Three-strand cord is not easily broken. Like sis be saying, it's not saying that it can't be broken. And if you guys go into these marriages with a certain headspace or a certain thought process, it's already doomed
Getting
before it
online.
starts.
Exactly.
You guys gonna have to be able to love these spouses, guys, even when they don't show up in the capacity that you like. You have to love them. You don't like them sometimes.
One of the common things I hear is, "Oh, I don't know, he's so fine to me." Da 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 da. So you're getting antsy because you're horny, or I'll hear, "I can't wait to have relief." A Proverbs 31 woman was a businesswoman, so if you're only waiting for it so he can pay all the bills, then that's a problem in itself, right? Everything that your spouse comes with should just be a bonus. Like, don't be, for the men out there, don't be so excited for this because you finally have personal chef. Like really put in your ducks in a row and stop wanting, because in a sense those are all materialistic. Those are things that you can attain. You get what I'm saying, from a person. So just remember, like, we're not getting in relationship for materialistic things. Remember that this is a kingdom marriage. This
Well,
is not, a lot of people have been in la la land for years in the stance. Please get out of la la land. And I'm not saying this to like condemn anybody. These are mindsets that I had. That's why I've been on my stance for about 4 years. God had to unyoke a lot of things that I thought about what it was going to look like before I even got there. So when I get there, I don't ruin it. Everything I touched on tonight, I've been there already.
yeah. And a lot of stuff, if not all of the stuff that we touch, guys, is by nudging of the Holy Spirit to share. Because the thing of it is, like, God cares about these unions and he cares about you guys as individual. He cares about your spouse just as much as he cares about you. And these marriages are already not going to be the traditional run-of-the-mill marriages. So with that being
These
said,
these marriages, they're going to be unfair. No eyes have seen, no ears have heard what he's about to do with these marriages. So when you're seeing people married on your timeline and you're getting frustrated and you're scrolling, don't covet that. Don't envy that, because what you're going to have is better than what you're seeing. What you're going to have is going to be forever. It's going to be unconditional. It's not going to be, "Oh, you gained 50 pounds, 100 pounds. They don't want you no more." It's not going to be on the type
and,
of time. It's not going to
and,
have anything to do with the world.
and see the Lord, that's what I was getting ready to say, because another thing that he's dropping in my spirit is that it's not going to look like their traditional roles either. Like, oh, he takes out the trash,
Nope,
I wash the
not at all.
dishes. She cooks and then I go to work. Husbands, you guys might need to pitch in with the kids, change some diapers. You might got to cook a meal or something if she's too because mind you, you see two sisters in Christ doing ministry. That will not change. You guys will be doing ministry. You guys will do ministry together. He might send you to evangelize. You got my guys might have a speaking engagement. You never know what doors God is going to open for your union. So wives, at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, wives, this message is for you also. If your husband is doing something, don't let the trash pile up and overflow for days because, oh, that's my husband's job. You guys are going to have to show up in the way that the other one is not able to show up. And you guys are going to have to put that biased gender role stuff out the window to become what one another needs the other to become in that moment. That's the only way that the household
Right.
is going to run smoothly. Like
Yes.
pride,
And
ego, and all
the
of that
Lord,
goes out the window.
exactly. What was I gonna? Okay, so the Lord brought Matthew 28, and He wants me to read this to people. If you're struggling on what your purpose is or your function in the kingdom of heaven, He just downloaded it to me like on the spot. So it says, then the 11 disciples went to the mountain where Jesus had to go. When they saw him, they worshiped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came and said, all authority in heaven on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples to all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of age. Now remember this. If you look at yourself as a disciple, if the Lord has told you that you are a disciple is someone wanting to know more about God, the Bible, the Word of God, right? So if you identify as a disciple before anybody ever gets an apostle is the next step up, right? It says, all authority in heaven and earth has been given to me, right? Therefore, go and make disciples, right? So God wants you to go and make disciples. Everybody's function is different. If I'm a person and I'm gifted in visions, maybe I will go and disciple and teach, because it says, teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you, right? So I will go out and I'll do the begin prayer with these people. It's not very hard. I told y'all the first couple people that got to begin with me, God born. Your function would be the Great Commission, which is whatever your gifts are. Maybe you're an intercessor, right? You know how to pray very well. You get people baptized in the Spirit, and then you teach them how to pray. Whatever your function is, go and teach people how to do it. Okay? Tell them how to obey the Word of God. Give them sound biblical wisdom, not what you think, but what you know that's in there. If you don't know for sure, a million percent that is in there, do not teach it off of what I think. Okay. And if it is something you think and you're still going to do it, please tell them, I think. Don't say the Word of God. No, say, I think it says. Okay. Be very sure of that, because God doesn't play about that. But I'm not going to scare nobody right now. I'm getting to that. But like, seriously, you're in a stance of kingdom marriage. Kingdom marriage is for the kingdom of heaven. There's people in the kingdom of heaven doing things that no one else in the world is doing, and they're going to reap great blessings for it. So if you've been trying to figure out what your function is, do the baptized people and the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and start teaching them what you know. Get them born again and start teaching them what you know. Okay, not what you think, but what you know for sure. You know that Jesus has came and died for their sins. Teach them that, right? But this is going to be your function. I know that Jamie touched on the traditional, how people think traditional and all that. Just remember that the Proverbs 31 woman, she had a business. So at any given time, you're going to have finances to the point where you can take your man on that vacation. You know what I mean? You can get him a car. You know what I mean? It's not going to, like, the things that you think are going to happen, greater things are going to happen than that. So just remember that. If you wanted to on Father's Day pay the rent for your home, your mansion, if you want to do, you would have the capabilities to do that, right? And God is bringing Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell to mind. think that's his name, where he said that him and his wife were in a financial debt for 10 years of their marriage. And I talk about this too, when breakthrough hits, a part of breakthrough is it's like a ice, right? You're hitting the ice, hitting, and finally it breaks through. Once it hits, you're going to reap of permanent blessings, like Abraham, like Job, like David, like Solomon. The blessings are going to be permanent. So yes, it does take time to get there. In many cases with Joseph, it took 10 years, right? It takes years to attain these permanent blessings. But remember, it's worth it because it's permanent, right? Anyways, I'm gonna shut up now. That's your purpose, and that's what you're supposed to do, though, while you waiting for your man or your woman.
Exactly.
Brothers.
To see, like sis said too, that's why he's working on heart postures. Would you guys really want to wait this long to get what he has for you and then you fumble it? No. You don't want to wait this long for your spouse to return. They return, and because your heart posture is off, you can't talk to them in the way that they need to be talked to. You can't love on them in the way that they need to be loved. Or let's say when the money comes, right? If pride, ego, or miscommunication gets in the way now, what about when the money comes? Are you going to start feeling yourself so much that you feel like you don't need them? Or like you can do better
And
than
lust
them?
got to
Or
be in
vice
check
versa?
before that.
And that
Your
could
lust got to
also
be in
be,
check.
I was just about to say, that could also be why it hasn't happened as well. He is not going to
Yeah, and
let up.
God told me, he said, I'm waiting on you. I'm over here praying and standing for this kingdom marriage, and I'm not posting nothing on YouTube. God waited for me to get my purpose to even move communication with my spouse. From there, he FaceTiming. From there, we're going out. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, you're waiting on God and God waiting on you. When are you going to get in position? Because you're not even in position yet. Okay? Your position is Ruth was gleaning in the field. You need to be out there and be seen and be gleaning and all this extra stuff before you get this man. You put me first is what God is saying, and I put you first. But you ain't even put your purpose first. And you think I'm about to let you put this, send you this man so you can put him first? You put this man over your purpose, we have a problem, Houston. Houston, we have a problem. So it's stuff like that. No, not right now, but I can be in a
minute.
minute.
It takes that long too, guys. This is the thing. Even when they come back, your relationship with God still over everything, right? For you, your purpose, your assignment. Shift your focus from and who's giving the gift. Because essentially, your spouse is the creation. God is the creator. Let the creation become bigger than the creator who's giving them to you. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Do the things that he's asking you guys to do. Operate in the heart postures that's needed. Be humble, show humility, guys, and all other things will be added. So on the next part, guys, after the part that says, I came here to turn a new leaf and maybe finally get some sleep, it says, but all I can think about is the mountain to climb and the conversations surrounding my music, like did Twin Peaks. So this is the thing, right? All I can think about is the mountain to climb. They have been overthinking the things that they have to do. Lord, this is so big. Like I have so much responsibility. I have to do this. I got to get my finances in order. I got to overcome these demons. I got to separate myself from the world. They honestly is to walk the straight and narrow path. Is it hard? Yes. Is it worth it? Yes. Can it be done? Absolutely. One, we know it can be done because Jesus himself came and walked this very same walk to show us in the flesh. He walked the earth as we, as humans, walk the earth just to show us that it can be done, first and foremost. Two, if you really want to do it, you can do it and you will get it done. Secondly, They gave God their yes. Now they have to perform as far as doing the things that is required of them to maintain that yes. So they're thinking, and like I said, they're overthinking. I'm thinking about the things that need to be done. I'm thinking about the mountain to climb. I'm thinking about the things that I have to give up, right? And the conversation surrounding my music. A lot of you guys, or some of you guys' spouse, um, I will say, are like artists. They do music, right? If they do music, they may have put out songs in a stance where they were lukewarm, or they might have come to God and then had a falling away. But at any stance, they might have put out songs praising the Lord or speaking on God, okay? And they said that they've been having to deal with or think about conversations surrounding their music. So people might actually know of them or have even passed them in the street. This might be people in their family, like, hey, they making music about God, but do they actually serve God? Are they actually living the lifestyles that they are discussing? Like, are they actually giving God their yes? Is it just mouth service? Are they just hearers of God's words and not doers? All these questions are being asked. Did Twin Peak are they has-beens, right? Because if they've done music, they might not put out a lot. They might have did one or two songs from them since, right? So they're like, people are starting to talk like, is that all for them? Like, are they going to do more? Are they going to give God more? Are they going to make more music? Are they going to make more content? Are they going to be 10 toes down and actually devote their gifts to God?
You sounds jealous of Yeti. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going. It says, all I can think about is mountain to climb conversations related to me. Okay, boom. Now, the mountain to climb is a lot of them that whoever this word is for, God has told them to confess and marry. So it's not just like, oh, the confession. The confession is a big enough mountain, but go and marry this person, work towards marriage, whatever word they were given, because everybody's different, right? It has something to do with them walking with you forever. This is a faith move, okay? The conversation itself is a faith move. Them going and buying a ring without hearing nothing from you, without even going over much with you, or nothing at all in some cases with you, this is definitely a mountain, a very big deal. Another thing is, this is forever. This is forever. This is not, oh, 20, 30 years we're going to be. No, this is forever. This is a very big faith move. A move. A regular marriage, and someone dating 2 to 5 years or something like that, it's still a faith move. So imagine how this is. This is much bigger than what people are making it, because you've known about it for so long. You're not looking at how big it is. This is very, very big to your spouse, okay? And to God, right? Surrounding my music, like, now they can be a producer, they can have something to do with maybe their videographer, something to do with some type of music. They also may have the gift of hearing. They may not be the type to watch TV much. Maybe they like to listen to music, musicals, jazz, whatever the case may be. God is definitely highlighting, and it could be very specific too. It says, did Twin Peak? They're worrying about, did you take off yet? Some of you guys have not. What?
Blowing.
It's blowing?
Yeah.
How's your leg blowing?
Do you get a bad night?
Girl, you get hurt so often. I'm just not shocked at all. Did you scratch it open? Yes, you did. That's old. That's old. Don't peel the scab off. I'm gonna. The word. But yeah, so they're wondering, did their other half, did their rib, did their neck, did their head, did they glow up yet? Did they start elevating yet? In some cases, right? You may have them blocked. That will make a lot of sense on why they can't see you to see what you've been doing, right? They have not been able to reach you for whatever case. Maybe you're ignoring them. Maybe God has told you not to talk to them in so many different things, but they're wondering if their other half, aka their twin, spike up yet. The baby is picking her own scabs. I'm not putting a band-aid on nothing. I'm not wasting band-aids on a week-old cut. but thank you very much. I'm not doing it. Period. No, no, ma'am.
You want me to go?
Oh yeah. I mean, do you want me to starting first or no?
I mean, it don't matter. I didn't know if you was done or if you were done talking.
Oh yeah, I was done. This
Okay,
baby was born.
it says what died back in 2024 was a big piece. So it's like this is me, but isn't me. Y'all keep on asking what it did to me. That's what it did to me. So something happened. This 2024 is very specific to someone. Whatever happened in 2024, they feel like it altered them forever. I don't know if this was a loss. I don't know if it was a betrayal. I don't know. But whatever happened, they said it's like it's me, but it isn't me. They became a shell of who they once were. If they went through a heartbreak, they feel like they gave so much to this person that they had nothing for the next person. If they went through some big loss where somebody that meant a lot to them died or passed away, they felt like they don't want to love again and only to have that person leave or be taken from them. So they feel like a version of themselves that even they're not used to. They don't recognize themselves, right? It says, y'all keep on asking me what it did to me. So you guys might have tried to talk to your spouse, like, hey, talk to me, open up to me. What have you been through? What have you gone through? You don't talk to me. You don't tell me. You don't share anything with me. And they're frustrated a little bit. They're like, you keep wanting to know why I am who I am, what made me this way. And they're like, y'all keep on asking me what it did to me. That's what it did to me. It created a version of themselves that they don't recognize. They don't have anything left to give because they've been so drained. And this is the thing, because they didn't know necessarily who to go to or how to seek him or how to pray or how to war, essentially, they didn't do anything about trying to feel those parts of them, right? Like when you are left with voids, you got to seek God in order to get built back up in those areas in which you are depleted. And because they didn't know any better, they left those spots blank, and because of that voids, they've been seeking everything that they've lost in other people or in vices or out there in the world. So they're like, it's me, but it isn't me. I don't even recognize this person. And they don't have anything left to give to you because of the past person that took everything that they had.
Okay, so it says what died back in 2024 was a big piece. God was speaking to me about a spiritual awakening happening. I don't say it in the new age term. The Lord started to shake them. Sometimes the Lord doesn't wake us up immediately. He kind of has situations that happen around us that cause us to start seeking him, ask questions about him or to him, right? So essentially that is when the flesh started having afflictions with their spirit man, to where they couldn't just have sex without consciously processing it, right? Before, I remember too, the Lord started waking me up in 2016, but I couldn't do certain things anymore with just no type of nothing, like no thoughts about it. I started having thoughts, I started having convictions. It just didn't feel right at all, right? So the Lord started to shake them, okay? And it says it was a big piece. The Lord was speaking to me too about this is probably very specific for a few people. A counterfeit, a 2024 counterfeit. Things start shaking up. The spouse was not happy, so on and so forth. That person took a big piece of them too. Many people too. I don't say this to trigger anybody, but many of these spouses are actually having sex with the counterfeits or were in the past, right? So when you have sex, not just a soul tie, it's an actual fragment of your spirit, not your spirit, soul that is left with them, vice versa. A fragment of their soul is left with you, and that's why you start seeing mannerisms and icks and things that they like and things like that within yourself, right? So they were missing a big piece. This is something that the Lord highlighting to them what's this counterfeit, this X, telling them to speak. And there's a prayer that you can pray to get the fragment of your soul back and to ask the Lord to release the part of the fragment that you carried of someone else's, things like that. The Lord is walking them through renouncing, denouncing, counseling, and just showing them their authority overall in Him. It says, so it's like this. Wait, are we there? Are we there yet? Next per after that? Okay, so it's like this S word is me, but it isn't me. There was I think it Paul who said it. He said, the things that I ought to do, I don't. The things that I don't, I do, right? So they have been just wrestling. They want to do the things of God, but it's easier to do the things of the world. We are predominantly in flesh. You get what I'm saying? So we have to fight the flesh. We have to, aka ourselves. We have to fight the enemy as well. We have to fight the principalities, the rulers, and judges of. So we have to fight a lot, right? And some of them. They're not praying in some cases. Some of them are doing praying and fasting, but they're still jacking off, watching porn. They're still having sex. They're still getting drunk. They're literally opening up themselves to where demons can come in. When you get drunk, you get out of your mind, you get out of your body, aka, right? They're smoking weed, they're getting high, they're going into the spiritual, they're getting beat up, okay? They don't know how to properly anoint, they don't know how to bless it before they start touching stuff. You know what I'm saying? Some of the oils, they went to a Wiccan shop where the crystals are, they got that oil, that satanic oil, that's not the same as holy oil in church. You get what I'm saying? So overall, I know that was probably overstimulating you guys, but that is what the Lord had gave me. They're fighting their best ability and best abilities, and that's what counts. I'm scared to have any more kids. Yeah, your wife. Okay, just get into this comment. I was going to respond to this comment. Your wife saying that you are too proud. Some people, especially if this confidence is from God, I don't know you, so I don't know if it's from God or the world. If your confidence is from God, there's going to be people who have demons in them that are, the demons are itching, messing with their minds to provoke, to say something to you. These people will feel the need to humble you or try to humble you. So your wife could be used because she may be compromised, depends on what's going on. Some people, not because they're doing compromising things, is because they have a generational demon, but that's besides the point, right? She could feel the need or the want to humble you. It says, she asked why to be different from your peers. The thing is, you don't blend in. Some people will be jealous. That's why I said it sounds like she was jealous of you, in competition with you. Men will be in competition with women, vice versa. Okay, she wants the best credit. She wants the nicest car. You know what I'm saying? She wants all this good stuff. Why your life different from your peers? Your life is different because, I mean, if you're on here, then clearly God's trying to get your attention. You may be chosen. I'm not here to, I know me personally, the Lord has not ordained me to speak to called people and to usher called people into purpose, only chosen people into the purpose. Okay, so He will send to speak to called people, but when I say the whole ushering into purpose, He's having me do chosen only. That's why I don't have millions of people on here, and that's why it's only 40 people on this live, because many are called, few are chosen. I'm only set aside for the few. So I may not ever have that, but yeah. Anyways,
y'all keep on asking.
Know your purpose. Oh, so it's like, okay, but it's, y'all keep, you want me to do it first this way? Y'all keep on asking me what it did to me. That's what it did to me when I dig deep. They say dig deeper. Okay, so y'all keep on asking me, y'all keep on asking me what it did to me. That's what it did to me. Your spouse is like, I can show you better than I can tell you. Do you not see the, like, when you start walking with God, you want for people to see the change immediately. And some people, they see it, but they will just go out of their way to discredit you. You see that with Jesus. They literally called him crazy. You guys see this man doing miracles. And then even the Pharisees say, well, if we say that he does it by heaven, then he's going to say this. But if we say he does it by man, then they're going to say this, because everybody has already accepted him as a prophet. You're going to have those people that are going to try to come against you. period. Your spouse is getting frustrated, and why people can't see the radical transition that the Lord is doing on the outside. They're like, I haven't went off on anybody in 6 months. I haven't did this in 3 months. You get what I'm saying? They're doing different stuff. I had so many people say that this phase, this preaching, teaching, whatever you want to call it, me walking with God was just a phase. Here we are 4 years later. Make it make sense. If it was fake, it would have been over in less than a year. You get what I'm saying? And you do see people that, you know, they get in the faith. A lot of people say that, like, what's her name? Brittany Renner. She was a Christian for like a month or two. She has a platform, and the church, on top of demons, attacked her day in and day out. When she slept, she woke up to hate comments and things like that. Do you think that is very fruitful for a baby in Christ? No, of course she stopped walking with God. But there's some people, everybody handles situations differently. When I got that back, I did get angry. I was crying and stuff. But, you know, I snitched and God did something about it. You know what I mean? You know, we all have different stuff. But I just say that to say your spouse is very frustrated because they're like, look at me. I'm doing different stuff. I know I'm still cussing. I know I'm still doing this, but I quit drinking every day. I quit smoking every day. I'm only doing it when I'm, you know, stressed. I'm only, you get what I'm saying? I finally got a girlfriend, not 10 women. You get what I'm saying? Like, with a counter, but before they were playing the field, this is things that it really sucks to say this, right? But you don't want a spouse that's been cheating on a counterfeit. You want a spouse that has started to, closer to the end of them, come back to you, started working on being faithful, so they're not winging it when they get with you. You know what I mean? A lot of the stuff, you're like, some of your spouses have counterfeits, right? And I've been through that, speaking from experience. And you're like, you tried to flirt with your spouse while they had counterfeit. Do you? And if they would have flirted with you, or if they did flirt with you, some people are thinking, is he really going to be faithful to me? Is she really going to be faithful to me? Because it was very easy for me to get in with this person. The lack of boundaries, once you're in a, you get what I'm saying? Like, some of them are keeping you at a distance because they're married or they're with a counterfeit or whatever, and you're just like, these are things that actually needs to be practiced. That's why God has had people stay celibate, has people, you know, in the stance that not allow you to date people and things like that, because you don't want to wait until the last minute to start practicing stuff. You get what I'm saying? Practice it now. Don't wait till gym day to get in there. Like, no, start now. So just things like that. But I'll shut up anyways.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of spouses too feel like that they don't get enough acknowledgement of the things that they've been through, of the betrayals that they faced, of the people that's done them wrong, of the spiritual warfare that they have dealt with, them having their heart broken, the whole nine, right? They feel like people do not acknowledge part of the reason why they have become the way that they become. Like, some of them feel like, well, you don't know how my father treated me. You don't know how the last woman did me. You don't know my story in order to be able to judge how I act or how I respond to certain things. They feel like they are not shown enough grace. And in some cases, to be honest, guys, you could show your spouse a little bit more grace. Don't let them play on your top, but at the same time, realize that you have not always been the men and women that you are today, and that it's going to take some time for them to get there as well. Because part of that is where the frustration comes from. So it says, tell us how it felt to meet the Grim Reaper. Okay, guys. So
Wait, where you at?
on the next part, it says, tell us how it feels to meet the Grim Reaper.
When I did deep, they say dig deeper. You already know that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right.
But it says, tell us how.
Yeah.
Tell
I
us
feel like
how,
that already.
huh?
I was
Tell
like,
us
I think
how
I
it
went over
felt.
that. I think I said that.
Oh.
Why does it sound like a fan?
Tell us how it felt to meet the Grim Reaper. So on this part, guys, when me and Jessica was talking, and we were on the phone when we got this word, we were talking about the fact that sometimes these spouses only have talked about the aftermath of the stuff that they went through, right? Like I said, a lot of these spouses like to act like the father's gummy bear, and he doesn't stand on what he say he's going to do. Like if they have stepped out of line, that they haven't been punished or disciplined. And what I mean by that, guys, we have been talking about the fact that God will allow you to bump your head and reap the consequences of that, right? So God is like, tell them how you met the Grim Reaper. Like, tell them how you disobeyed me and you had witchcraft done on you, or how you might have got into a car wreck because somebody, a witch you had met with, did some hoodoo or some voodoo on you or stuff like that. Tell them how, you know what I mean, you had sex with this person and laid with this person and something might have happened to you. So God is telling them, testify to what happened to you, to the things you experienced when you stepped outside of my will. Just don't tell them that, oh, yeah, God has already graced you for this. God has already graced you for that. He's already made a way for that sin. Tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly, everything that comes with this walk, the mistakes that you have made, and what happened as a result. He wants them to be truthful about their whole walk with him, not just part of it.
Ooh, honey. Okay, so she's not gonna give me juice, y'all. She's just so out of line. I asked her for juice like 15 times. It says when I dig, they say dig. Okay, tell us how it felt to meet the Grim Reaper. So what the Lord's giving me is a scripture, right? It says, you know, the demon leaves and it wanders off and it comes back, looks in the home and sees no one's there, no one is there, and it comes back with 7 more unclean spirits than itself, right? The thing is, you could be dealing with what is it? Overeating, gluttony, right? That's a sin. There's a demon attached to that. It's messing with your self-control. You're missing the fruit of the spirit, right? And a lot of these spouses, due to this prodigal season, have opened the door to way more things. Now, an unclean spirit, there's so many different types, but an unclean spirit, a lot of people, even an unclean thought is not just a sexual thought, although it is. It's a punch him in the face thought. It's a run that person over thought. It's a thought that is not carrying the goodness of God. The Bible says every good and perfect gift comes from the Lord, right? So every good gift is coming from the Lord. So, you know, every bad thought and all that is, you know, coming from the enemy and stuff like that. But unless it's yourself, but we ain't gonna get that too deep into that. But one of the spirits that could come in, you may just be dealing with a gluttony. Now you got the Grim Reaper spirit, or there's the Avenger, right? You got death trying to come on you. Now you got lust on you too. Now you got Jezebel, Leviathan, Baal, Molech. Okay, now you got a household full of demon in the spiritual realm. So it's things like that. Your spouse was not expecting in this prodigal season to pick up any heavy things, right? But due to some of them, it doesn't matter what belief they're in now. They had some knowing of Jesus Christ, whether it was very early, whether it was teens, preteens, early adulthood. Spouses are saying, some of them are saying, I'm Jewish, I'm Muslim, I'm Catholic, I'm Pentecost, I'm all this extra stuff, right? It doesn't matter about any of that. Some of them already knew what was up with God. There's many reasons why people do not walk with God wholeheartedly. Some of them are frustrated. Some of them are like, why did you allow for me to get hurt in the church? Some of them have been around hypocrites. The few Christians they were around were lukewarm or hypocrites. Some people are doing it because they don't like the cards that they were dealt. It's so many different reasons for people not wanting to walk with God. Sometimes it's just pure rebellion. I know you don't like this, so I'm going to do detestable things. And I've heard several people say this, right? You know, so it's just things like that. But whatever the case may be, your spouse is aware of the Lord. That's why I keep saying, quit letting the things that they're saying about their faith, their so-called faith, get your panties in a bunch, get you so twisted spiritually to where you can't see the big picture. The big picture is God said it, so he's going to do it, period. God said that men are liars. He's not a man that he should lie. So if you take anybody's word for it, take the Lord's word for it. When my spouse gets to doing stuff, because yes, he does till this day still do stuff, I literally do not listen to it because you're a mere human. God is not. He's Alpha and Omega, beginning and end. He saw it. Okay. So it's just things like that. And it says, tell us how it felt. This is something that later down the line your spouse will be doing, whether it's on a platform or just in secret, in a small, intimate setting. They are going to testify of the things that they've been through, right? I'll never forget. I got one of those Grim Reaper spirits from having sex with someone. So it's very, very real. When people, and you'll know, one of the ways I knew that a person carried it was they were once upon a time suicidal. They weren't always like that, but they once upon a time were. So without deliverance from the Lord Jesus, you're still going to carry it. A lot of times people think that they don't have a spirit immediately after something happens. The devil's very crafty. The devil will plant seed and wait X amount of time to water it. Why? Because he copies God. That's stuff that the Lord himself does. He will plant a seed from early childhood and wait till you're of age to start growing into it, like showing you and things like that. The enemy copies the Lord, right? The devil copies God. So what they'll do is they'll have you say you get a demon from someone, right? In a different season, it will be manifested. It's like you got that one time to do something. In some cases, depending on what type of doors will open, and the devil will wait until the right timing, his right timing or whatever, to do a thing. And God be allowing stuff to happen. You know what I mean? There's consequences for our actions, but also he uses those moments to prune us as well. So keep that in mind. Where is it? This album better have some big features. I mean, your spouse is basically like, if I'm going to do this better be bigger than big. And it really is. I talked about this before too. For the majority, I'm not even going to say majority. I'm just going to be honest with you. This is how the Lord gave it to me. For people that are truly on this kingdom spouse journey and it's sent from him, it's bigger than big. Okay. You guys will have the finances. You guys will have the clothing. You guys will have the home. You guys will have the children. You guys will have the things like how people carried in the Bible, like how David had substantial wealth, Abraham, Joseph. You're going to carry Job. You're going to carry a very noticeable amount of wealth. Okay, not because you're splashy, it's because you're the generational curse breaker. It's because you did everything that everyone else wouldn't do for X amount. Many people don't realize that it's big because there were thousands of people before you that refused to do it. That's how serious it is. God kept having to skip people up. God had to skip your mom, skip your daddy, skip your sister, skip your brother. He had to skip so many different, your cousins. He had to skip so many people. Everybody that's in your bloodline now, they didn't do it. You get what I'm saying? So now you're doing it. But there are people before them. So it's a problem that the Lord had, and that's why it's so big. Anyways.
Also, guys, the Lord kind of gave it to me from the flip side too. So this might be for a few of you guys' spouse, but this album, like she said, it represents the ministry. It represents testimonies. It represents evangelizing. It represents the kingdom business, right? And so God had a conversation. Did it cut off, sis? Okay, here we go. So the album represents the ministries, guys. It represents evangelizing. It represents testifying and testimonies, right? Everything that they're going to be coming and doing, right? So God has had a conversation with you guys' spouse, and this could even be before they knew about the marriage or even during them knowing about the marriage, but before they were willing to be obedient to the call of God as far as the work that you two were to do together, okay? So a lot of these spouses had an idea of what their ministry was going to look like, whether they thought they were going to be doing it alone, whether they thought that they were going to be coming at it from this angle, and God was sitting them down like, hey, you actually have a partner in this. There's a union. There's a way that this ministry is going to be handled, and there's a way that it's going to be done. This next part says, well, sorry to bust your bubble, but I'm alone for my mental. So when God was speaking to them about the way that he's going to have these ministries put together, about people that he was going to be joining them to help them on this this walk that they are appointed to as well as they're appointed to them. A lot of them like, I don't work well with others. Like I'm alone for my mental, for my peace. I have chosen to be alone. And God was like, no, this is what this looks like, and this is how it's going to be. But like I said, a lot of them wanted to tell God how they were going to do it. A lot of them felt that they worked better alone solo. They were not willing or ready or in the mindset to really accept the fact that this ministry came with a kingdom spouse, or that this ministry came with
Yeah. I was gonna. Where is it at? Oh, well, sorry to burst your bubble, but I'm all over for my women. So God reminded me of the short that I uploaded of your spouse wants to be reclusive. Your spouse really is in a very tender moment right now in their faith, in their relationship. Thank you, Holy Spirit. He said relationship, in their relationship with him. And the distractions from the outside, your spouse was easily influenced. And I don't say this in a way of like they were gullible. They're very sensitive to the leading, to the nudging, to the voice of the Lord. And what was happening is we learned this in our gifts for all the people that, you're not there yet, but you're about to get there. The enemy will try to sow a thing. God will give you something, the enemy will try to sow something right after. Your spouse has realized that this was a thing that was going on consistently. So your spouse decided to remove outside voices so they know that what they're getting is simply from the Lord, right? They have a true heart desire to get the instruction from the Lord and follow through with it. But they noticed that they kept going off the path, veering off the path, and the enemy the enemy really attacked their gifts early on, and that's what he does. That's why so many people have so many different belief systems at a young age. He exposes you to things to confuse you, so when you get older you're still confused and you teach false doctrine and you lead people down the wrong path, right? So what was the next part? I've been trying to I've been trying to end so many people, I almost forgot the intro. What? Look, I'm getting sleepy now. It's 1:13. Okay, and I've been trying to end so many people, I almost forgot the intro. I feel like that's just speaking to the character, right? Um, some of them they want to get their spiritual rank up. Some of them they were like how we said before, quick to want to shut people down, quick to speak, slow to listen, right? I almost forgot the intro. They have been stopping themselves from going off on people, from speaking their mind to people. We all need balance and everything, things like that. Uh, I'm gonna do the next line. Been so sure of my words that I haven't used a pencil. So from going and speaking quickly and listening slow, they have now switched where they're listening, they're more intentional, right? This has helped them a lot too. I think I put out a word too that said that like when you know who you are, you won't just allow anyone around you, because you'll know that everybody's around you for a purpose. You know that there's an intention behind it, whether that is good or evil. So your spouse is noticing that there is a reason for everything. What are these people reasons for being around me? And that was causing them and is causing them to just observe and to just listen. Before they wanted the spotlight, they wanted to be seen, they wanted this and that. But like you stated before, they're learning the Lord. The Lord is showing them that he hears their thoughts. And with the Lord showing them that he hears their thoughts, now that they know the true and living God pays attention to them, that's enough. That's enough for them. Yes. Yeah, I'm in Texas.
the side of that. And I've been trying to end. So this is the thing as all. It's easy to forget where you are versus where you've been. Right? So they tried to insult. Like a lot of your spouses was at a point where they were cutthroat. They didn't have no grace no understanding, empathy, sympathy for anyone. And they almost forgot that they were not always who was extending it to them. And they almost forgot how God met them where they were. So God kind of checked them in that a little bit, like, hold on, pump the brakes. Like, you have to show your same way that I'm extending grace to you. Don't get so high or think so high of yourself that you forget that you had a starting point, not growing, they got to mature. And we have. Also, it says, been so sure of my words that I haven't used a pen. A lot of you guys espouse to a lot with their words, right? They talk off out the side or up and it came out. So God has been reminding them because they were not thoughtful in choosing their words. Has been reminding them of the things that they have spoken in general. Or did not even remember doing or saying half of the things that they said, and God had to bring it back to them. Been so paranoid that nothing in this world seems coincidental. The closer you start walking with God, the more discernment that you are operating in. And it almost feels like, honestly, God's being in a constant state of paranoia because you are that aware, right? Like, spiritually, you are that aware. You can feel people's energy towards you, whether you go to the grocery store and you feel people looking at you, whether people be hateful to you out of like what you feel like is thin air, but it's really not. It's just the people, God, the enemy working on those people and using those people against you. They're becoming aware to a lot more things. And because of that, it's become overwhelming. They think that they're paranoid, and the enemy will use the same gifts that God gave you. When it becomes overwhelming, the enemy can play off of that, right? We know that the enemy does spiritual warfare as far as mental attacks. He causes confusion. He can twist something that the Lord has given you and kind of play with it. So they've been paranoid off of the things that God has awoken them to because it has started to overwhelm them, that they become and things around them.
Yeah. It says they, so what the Lord gave me with this is, you know how the Bible says you do well with the little and he will increase more? They did well with a little signs. They did well in the Lord would speak through the little things, through simple things, to where he's increased their signs that they are receiving from him. And now they're realizing that nothing is a coincidence. So I remember when I woke up to this too, and I would just say, Lord, why am I here? Why am I here? And the Lord never, till this day, never fails to reveal to me why I'm in a specific location. But sometimes I forget to ask him why I'm there. And I don't get the revelation. So I try to, as much as possible, ask the Lord, why am I in this location? And he will speak. But yeah, that's a good thing. They're maturing, they're growing. It said our brother sold his chain the other day and said that someone snatched it. I'm still processing that. It got me so distracted. This is a whole bunch right here, the download that the Lord gave me for this. But it says, I think he's so desperate and our life is going fantastic. You could, when you get to it, Jamie, you can just do it how you gonna do it. But I'm gonna just do it like this because he gave me a chunk for this part. He don't have the heart to come and tell us he pawned it for cash. Even his baby mama's been saying he's moving backwards. To me, he sold the only thing that has ever mattered. I could never forgive such a nefarious action. Okay. I'm still healing. Okay, I'm gonna leave it right there. So at this part, God was speaking to me about our brother's soul has changed. We were essentially the jewelry of our spouse, right? The Bible says that he is the head, we are the neck. We are more precious than rubies, like the Bible states for the woman of God, right? And the our spouses basically, not only are we that as a woman of God, the fact that you are a chosen woman of God, you are a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden, you shine very bright. He essentially, by going with these counterfeit things, people, places, had pawned you temporarily, because the pawn shop, you can go and buy it back, right? So the prodigal is able to return to the item and repent and things like that and go see his father. So essentially, your spouse had put you in the pawn shop, right? And some of them with intention is some of the spouses felt it was too hard to be monogamous. So the only reason why they didn't go with you is because you would have to, you were going to hold them to a higher statue, right? You were going to make them come up, right? You were going to, because when a woman of God is trying to tell a person, their man of God, to be monogamous, and maybe he doesn't see it just yet, you're actually requiring him to have morals, right? You're actually requiring integrity from him, right? Something that maybe no one else has asked for him to do, right? So essentially it says, I think he's so desperate and our life is going fantastic. He don't even have the heart to come and tell us he pawned for cash. A lot of them, God was having wrestling with them about accountability, right? Being accountable. You know that this is your wife. Stop playing dumb. You know that she is the one that I have set aside and ordained for you. Type of time. God is talking to them as grown men, because they are grown men. There was a season where the Lord was catering to the broken little boy in them, but in this season, God is saying you got to come up higher. I'm requiring integrity, moral accountability. I'm requiring all of this in you. Right? You want the real deal. I'm giving it to you. So it says, even his baby mama been saying he's been moving backwards. This could be, you could be the baby mama. There could be another baby mama. Other people are noticing, or were noticing your spouse and their actions. They reverted to old ways temporarily. They reverted doing things that they did years ago temporarily, is what the Lord has said. And it said, and he sold to me, this is the Lord speaking, he sold the only thing that has ever mattered. God does not play about you. You're the apple of his eye. The Lord says, touch not my anointed, do my prophetic no harm. God does not play about you. The fact that your spouse neglected you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you get what I'm saying? Like, some of them were abusive financially. They were only around you because of what you can do for them, right? God, and I'm not going to say physically, because they were not physically abusive. If anybody swearing down that your spouse beat on you and that's your husband, please fuck off, okay? Some of them were verbally abusive, right? But never, I'm not, if you get beat up at any point by your wife or husband, just know I'm never going to release a word with intention for you about kingdom spouse. Maybe a different word, but not ever going to be kingdom spouse. Okay. But it says, yeah, he didn't even have the heart to tell me that he pawned it for cash. Some of them chose to be with a counterfeit who would have provided for them. A woman that was tricking off, a man that was tricking off on them. You get what I'm saying? They chose that over you. You get what I'm saying? So God is holding them accountable. What was the other part? And he told me he sold the only thing that has ever mattered to me. One soul is worth more than the earth. You get what I'm saying, to the Lord. So it's like, quite literally, God does not play about you at all. God feels that it was a very nefarious action for your spouse to leave and to do you how they did you. I'm going to look up the word. Where is it at? I'm trying to look up the word.
I was just about to do that too. So
yeah, I'm trying to look it up, girl. I'm copy and pasting it because I don't even know what this means. God keeps saying what it means. I'm like, I don't know. So clearly you want me to look it up. I don't know. activity, wicked criminal. Their action towards you, the spouse, was wicked. Okay? Period. All right. And it says, okay, so that's what the Lord gave me. He didn't like how they pawn, they chain, and it's a nefarious action. Oh, the Bible verse to go with this. God gave me the Bible verse how there was a master, and the master forgave the debt of the servant, and the servant went out after he was forgiven of his debt, and he seen his own servant, and then he wouldn't forgive him. Right. So God was basically saying, in order to get right with me, you're gonna have to forgive your servant. You're gonna have to forgive, because some of them, they're like, you hurt them, right? Not trying to. Maybe they felt overlooked. Maybe when you forwarded their call, they felt rejection all over again. And some of them were so sensitive. It's like the enemy used other people, their mothers, their fathers, their aunts, their sisters, their brothers, to already throw blows towards them. So you hanging up in their face with just this and that. Sometimes people had moments. I told you guys several times in the past, I cut that man smooth out. He was everything but a son of God, right? Cutting it out, and I don't know why it's doing it. So frustrating, and I'm hungry. But it was just actions like that that hurt them. Now there, I've seen and heard so many different stories. The worst of the worst of the worst, God can still fix it. Just remember that. For all the people you hold on to condemnation, it's not even conviction. You're beating yourself up for old things that you did. God used it. He used the evil for good, and he used the foolish things to confound the wise, right? Your spouse is not wise. But yeah, God was saying, like, go and forgive my daughter, and go and return to my daughter, my son, right? To your spouse. So anyways, I'll let Sister Jamie take it away if you got anything to add to that.
Well, the way God kind of gave it to me was like the parable of the prodigal son with the wasteful living. So it's kind of like they squandered like their birthright or their inheritance, right? Our brother sold his chain the other day and said that someone snatched it. So they have been living in such a wasteful lifestyle, right? And not only have they been living a wasteful lifestyle, but they've been blaming it on other people. So not only did to sell something, right, a willing action, he willfully sold it, and then he said that someone snatched it. So they're not only choosing or chose wasteful living, but then they blamed everyone else as to why they didn't have income, as to why they were stagnant, or they wasn't as far as they should have been, or doing the things or living the life that they should be living. And I'm still processing that. It got me so distracted. I think he's so desperate. Our life is going fantastic. That represents you guys, right? You guys are feeling like, I still cannot phantom the fact that he's even out there living that way, wasteful living. God is blessing them not only with the blessing of you, but favor comes with you. It's so much more that comes with being obedient to God, and you guys are frustrated with that. And you're distracted. A lot of you guys, and we kind of said this at the beginning, have been so focused on the things that your spouse is doing or is not doing, that your eyes off the things that needs to be done for yourself as far as the assignment that God has called you to do. I think he's so desperate. A lot of you guys think that the way that your spouse is moving is very like in a frantic or panic kind of mind state or way, right? Our life is going fantastic. A lot of you feel like if they were only stayed the course, what God has for you as far as the promise, like I said, it's frustrating because a lot of you guys that are interceding and standing in the gap, you guys can see what they can't see as far as everything that God has for you. And you can't phantom the idea of why they would go seek outside of God the things that God will provide for them and is providing for them. And it's the same concept as the prodigal, right? when the prodigal family came home and the father put the robe on him and he cleaned him up and he put the signet ring on him, the brother was mad at the fact that he had been out there and the fact that the father even welcomed him back home. He don't have the heart to come tell us, and he pawned it for cash. When the prodigal was out there living the wasteful lifestyle, this happened in the public eye. He was sleeping in pig pens, didn't have much to eat. In the same way as his spouses have been living a wasteful lifestyle, this has been on display. People have taken notice of this. And not only have people taken notice of this, people closest to them, whether it has affected the way that they have been able to show up to their children, for their children. Maybe they were paying some type of child support or something of that nature, and the child's mother have noticed that they have been moving short or that they have been moving differently. They might have been used to driving a certain kind of car, dressing a certain kind of way, and she noticed that, you know, their clothes have become more tattered, or maybe they're not um, keeping up with themselves, or maybe their appearance have changed. Maybe they're a little bit more unkept than they usually are. To me, he sold the only thing that has ever mattered. Going out there and having that wasteful lifestyle, especially when God has blessed you with the monetary support that he has given you, is to be used towards the kingdom for the advancement of the kingdom. Whether that's tithing into people, whether that's helping people, whether that's blessing people, but they have been wastefully living. I could never give such a nefarious action, such a wicked, sinful display of actions. I'm still healing my own traumas. I've barely adapted. You guys feel like you have barely made it through the test trials and tribulations that you have went through, let alone having to cover them and intercede for them while they go out there and what looks like to you live it up, right? You're like, I have barely been able to keep myself together. I have been barely able to pray for myself, and you guys are out here just blowing it and spending it on things that are not of the kingdom. I've barely adapted. And like I said, in the same way, when the prodigal son returned in the Bible, is the way that the brother was feeling towards him when he returned. And you guys are kind of like in the same heart posture. And then it says,
Girl, leave me alone, please.
huh? And then it says this new toxic ish I'm dropping is going to spin till I'm radioactive. Yeah. So a lot of these spouses have been in a certain type of mind frame as far as I'm going to keep operating and how I've been operating until, let me see, God is calling me to look up radioactive. Let me see.
Are you waiting for me?
Huh?
Sorry. She says she can't walk because she has an old cut on her leg from a week and a half ago that's already got a scab on it. But okay.
Okay. So
Goodness
radioactive
gracious.
means a
Well,
substance has unstable atoms that break down over time. So mentally, guys, they have been mentally broken down over the warfare, over the things that they have endured. Not to mention, like Sis said, if you prematurely get delivered, or if you get delivered and you go back to your old things, it's like a dog going back to his vomit. You take on demons that are worse than the demons that you were delivered from to begin with. And that takes a toll on you, right? Say like you pray and you get relief from the mental affliction that you have been going through. But then you go out there and you do the very thing that you have just prayed against. You get relief and then you're back in that mental headspace. You get relief and then you're back in that mental headspace. And that breaks you down over a period of time. And it says this new toxic I'm dropping is going to spin till I'm radioactive. So they feel like if they do not get relief soon, that they're going to break.
It's my turn. It says I'm healing my own traumas. I barely adapted. Some of them are having a conversation with God, right? And what the Lord gave me was in this conversation, they're like, I don't want to go to her or him unhealed. I want to be, able to do what is needed to be done to effectively, efficiently walk in this relationship with them, right? So they don't want to mess it up. They don't want to fumble it. They already fumbled it. God is like, go, return, marry this person, be fruitful, multiply, you know what I mean? Advance my kingdom and stuff like that, right? And they're just like, man, I'm still healing my own traumas. They're barely adapting. That God has been refining them to the point to where it's like they don't know if they can take it anymore. And we all hit a point in our walk where God has refined us to that point to where it's like, Lord, I'm broken. Lord, I'm losing my mind. You get what I'm saying? Like he does, like, us beyond points that we can bear. And it says this new toxic fish I'm dropping is going to split till I'm ready or active. The things that your spouse has been through is a testimony. They can write a book. They can have a movie. They can make revenue from it. They can preach the gospel. They can teach the gospel. They can encourage others. In the book of Revelation, it talks about the war is won through testimony. So their testimony is powerful. It's yeah. It says I'm dropping, and they're dropping the toxic stuff. They're leaving it alone or dropping a word about it. Exposing. There's this dude that he's not even necessarily like would be in the body of Christ. He talks about narcissism. He exposes narcissism, what it looks like, and in a relationship and text and things like that. Like regardless, he's doing his big, right? But yeah, God just gave that to me as an example, and it says, "Oh, are we already there? I really make the roughest days of life look very relaxing."
We're right there now.
Okay, so quite literally, your spouse feels like you make the roughest days in life look very relaxing. Period. They may even have been reading the life of Jesus and things like that and seeing how he acted when people treated him unfairly. The story of Judas, maybe they've been studying that or watching the movies or something like that, but they've been getting fed spiritually and they have really just been admiring how you are, like you go through some of the spouses have seen new things over the stance. Maybe you lost a person, maybe your finances have been hit. Some people, I've seen so many people get in car accidents, and I experienced that myself too. So just watching you go through different obstacles, and it's like you were doing cartwheels and flips, and you just like you kept for the women out there, you kept your femininity during these things. You didn't start being all masculine, rah and things like that. Your spouse truly admires you.
Yeah. And a lot of them too, on the flip side, I really make the roughest days in life look very relaxing. A lot of these spouses don't realize that you're able to see right through them as far as the things that they are going through. You might have went to your spouse and asked them how they're doing, and they always respond with, I'm fantastic, I'm blessed, I'm this, I'm that. Not knowing that God has already talked to you about what they're struggling with. And two, you can read right past their words because you can look at them and tell that they're going through something, whether it be in their body language, whether you're able to see it in their eyes and their face and how they respond, or even the way that they try to overly convince you that they're doing okay. Like if you're doing okay, you don't need to tell me 5, 6, 7 times, I'm doing fantastic, I'm blessed, too blessed to be stressed, Like you're overcompensating for the way that you really feel, and they're not aware of that. So in their head, they're like, I'm cool, I'm calm, I'm collective, I'm able to put up this front. No, you're able to see right through them.
Okay, so it says I don't do psychedelics because I'm too scared of unpacking. Some of them feel like the psychedelics is given like medication. Some people feel like the medication will work, and if the medication works, it will take away their personality, it will cause them to be numb. There's many different things on why people who walk with God, or even people that don't walk with God, don't take psychedelics. A lot of believers feel like psychedelics are demonic because marijuana is demonic, but there's certain psychedelics that they don't get you high. As long as it's not getting you high, it's not taking you into the spiritual realm, you're fine. But yeah, your spouse feels like the medicine might actually work, and they may lose a piece of their personality and whatnot from it. Where's the other part? Go ahead, sis. Go ahead, sis.
Huh?
I said, go ahead.
Okay. Profoundly altered perception. Okay. So it says, I don't do psychedelics because I'm too scared of unpacking. Also, the thing that psychedelics do is kind of alter your mind state to allow you to think in a way that's kind of otherworldly. Okay, that's in a drug perspective sense. God gave it to me as far as like, I don't do psychedelics because I'm too afraid of unpacking. That can also be supernatural, right? As far as like even with the Holy Spirit, right? I don't sit with God. I don't get divine instruction because I'm too afraid of unpacking. Sitting with God, right? Sitting with God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit will have you go deep within yourself as far as doing a deep dive into the things that you have dealt with. It will have you tap into stuff that you don't even remember took place. Like for me, guys, like there's a lot of my childhood, a lot of my teenage years that I do not even remember. But I can be in the kitchen washing dishes and God will be like, you remember when this happened? I'll be sitting and I'm like, dang. I'll be like, dang, that did happen. So it's the same thing with them. When you truly allow God and the Holy Spirit to work in you and through you, He will start to bring up stuff and have you face stuff that you might have went through when you was 6 that you did not remember, had no remembrance of. And he does that in order to heal you. It's not even to hurt you. It's not to hold it against you. Like, you remember this, you did this one. No, it's so that you know that it has happened. Why does he bring it up? Because the devil can cause an offense in you and something that you are operating in without even remembering that it took place. You might be asking yourself, why am I so triggered by this? Why, when I hear this song, do I respond in this certain way? Why am I so angry? Why am whatever you are operating in and going through, sometimes you have no idea where it came from until God brings up that certain memory or that certain trauma that you went through. And he does that in order for you to deliver you from it so that the enemy has no power over it. And that's exactly what's happening with your spouse. And they're scared to go deeper because they're scared of what they might find. They are scared of what has been laying dormant that they have not been facing and have not been dealing with.
You know what the Lord gave me as you were talking is how a lot of believers don't want to know about the spiritual realm because they're scared.
Well, because this is the thing,
That's what
right?
they're going through.
If they're scared because once you realize it becomes real, they try to run from it like that makes it less real. It doesn't. The only thing that
That ain't
does,
gonna get you into your authority.
well, the only things it does is prevent you from knowing exactly how to war. Because when God can pinpoint to you exactly what's going on, exactly why you're being attacked and what's attacking you, you have a prayer point. So it's not even to
You have
be
a
scared.
warning point.
Just because you don't acknowledge it doesn't mean it does. Like, for instance, before God woke me up to my calling and the things that was actually been taking place, the people that was attacking me and why I was being attacked, I had been attacked my whole life by my sisters, by family members. I had went through different abuse as a child, just different stuff in general. And even though I had went through that stuff, I had no idea the spiritual warfare that was behind it or why. And once he woke me up to it and what it was, and that it was some things on my on my family's bloodline and that my own family had, once he told me everything, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Then he was able to wake me up to the family members that I needed to stay away from, the things that I needed to pray against, the things that they had been doing and continue to do. That way I knew what to pray, how to war against it, and who to set boundaries with and completely exit out of my life in general, right? So he just gives you the blueprint.
Don't put that over here. Put it over there.
But how it spells?
I want to
Sometimes I
spill.
only see myself in my therapist glasses, but I'm not taking it serious because she's very attractive. So they have had people in their circle, guys, that may have been giving them advice. This could be actual real life therapists. This could be people they were going to for advice, but they didn't take them serious because of their appearance. Whether it be they didn't think it could come from somebody who looked like the person that was giving it to them. They had in their mind a notion of what it would look like coming from a person that they had. Like, to be honest, if this is a male, if you are a wife standing for your husband, he doesn't do well with taking advice from a woman. And guys, that can be from trauma. Okay, so I'm going to talk briefly about something that I dealt with. When I was dealing with my oldest son, and a lot of you guys know because I have told you, and if you're new here, I have had a son that has been abused by his dad since 5 years old. He will be 17 next month. He's been in numerous different hospitals and stuff like that. But I say that to say, because of his trauma and the things that he had went through at the hands of his father, he did not respect a woman's authority. He did not respect my authority as his mother. Whenever I would get him help, whether it be a therapist or anybody that was in a position to help him, I would seek out males because he would listen to them and take to them more over a female. He would try to run over a female. He just did not respect her. So whatever your spouse has been through, it had him or has him in a mind frame to one, not put women in a position to say. And that could be from the standpoint of a lot of them have been conditioned to feel like they have a toxic view of the woman's role, not only in the church, but even within relationships, right? Like the seen, not heard type of situation. They might deem you as, oh, you're smart. Oh, she has a lot to say. But when it comes to telling them anything or trying to give them advice, you don't measure up to what they have or what they know. I'm done.
Oh, sorry. Girl, I'm getting asleep. My eyes just get blurry. Okay, let me see. Oh, sometimes I only see myself in my therapist's glasses, but I'm not taking it serious because she's very attractive. God was speaking to me about how the spouse abused you as a therapist. Your spouse has been, maybe you got trauma bonded from the jump. Maybe they just dump on you emotionally. Whatever it is, they have some sort of healing that they feel when you guys would speak, when they would tell you about their problems. They feel as if you truly cared. And also, not only did you care, you gave good feedback when you did. Therapists don't often give feedback. It's like you get, if anyone's ever been in a therapy, you talk for like 30, 40 minutes, and then they sit like 5 minutes on a 45-minute session, and they will tell you, like, you are so awesome, keep going, and remember to breathe in now, type of time. Like, and that's how your spouse views you, as a person that's like not of a nuisance, but like someone that gives good feedback and things like that. And they think you're very attractive. And I'll Jamie to say whatever he's going to say before I get into the next part because I don't want you to forget.
One
What were you
thing
going to
I
say?
would say on the therapist and then look right there, because I was showing like, hold on, Lord, I'm a lose it. But the one thing too that he was highlighting and sis was talking is when you go to a therapist's office, they don't really give you the option of talking freely and spiritually. You go up in there and you say some stuff to a therapist and they be ready to sting you off. So even when you
Yeah.
go to a therapist, you have to be very reserved and very mindful of the things that you say. So whether this was a physical therapist or just somebody that they were sharing with, they could not share as much with them as they can with you.
Right. And the next part it says, but I'm not taking it serious because she's very attractive. Some of these spouses have a perspective, and the perspective is I had the stupidest, is it perspective? I don't know the word for it. I'm sleepy, but I used to genuinely think years ago from when I was a kid, because I only went to a few churches before I was put in Muslim foster home and Jehovah's Witness, right? So I thought only black people had the true and living God. My God, the people that pruned me to be the woman of God I am today are all white, like literally. They are all white, and it's just so funny that I have that mindset going in. So some of these spouses truly have a perception of you cannot be beautiful and intelligent, and like if they're like they feel like it's limited knowledge that you're going to get from a beautiful person because looks will carry the rest of the way, right? So it's just things like that. Like also the therapist glasses, they can see themselves in you. Some whatever way they do it, it might be the way you act, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you maybe you are just some of them are like they have a wall up. Maybe you carry a wall up, but like not an impossible wall, but you have a wall, if that makes sense, y'all. Hang in there, self. Okay, but anyways, yeah. Your spouse also finds you very attractive, and it's hard for them to at times to take you serious. I know this is for sure in the past they did not take you serious, but now they're taking you more serious. You've been standing on business. Many people, you lost your spouse's respect because maybe you were too easily accessible in the past, but you've grown, you've been pruned, and yeah. Anyways, you're also very attractive to your spouse. And then, did you already say that part? The whole, did you go over that? I'm sleepy.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
never.
remember.
I didn't. I'm not
Sometimes
sure.
I see. No, did you go to the therapist part?
Oh yeah, yeah, I did. Y'all have to bear
Okay,
with
go
us because
ahead.
my voice is 2 o'clock in the morning, and we've been at this for a while, so bear with us, guys. But I know it's a heavy A decision to bury the hatchet. It'll take more than 6 pallbearers to carry that casket. So the Lord is calling them to operate in forgiveness. A lot of people that has hurt them, whether it be counterfeits, whether it be family members, whether it be parents, that some of them are even church hurt, right? And the Lord, they are saying, well, they're heavy. Okay, they're saying, I know it's a heavy decision to bury that. It's a heavy decision to operate in forgiveness. It's a heavy decision to forgive everybody that has hurt them. It'll take more than 6 pallbearers to carry that casket. They are carrying a huge chip on their shoulder, guys. Everybody that I'm telling you, everybody that a childhood friend made them mad and hurt them, a relative at 10 years old, not like everything that has ever happened to them throughout their life, they just kept adding on and adding on and adding on. And now they walk around with this huge chip on their shoulder because they haven't released any of the things that has happened to them. They haven't operated in forgiveness, and God is calling them to let it go. Let go and let me. Forgive them. Forgiveness is not for you, son. It's not for you, daughter. I mean, it's not for them, son. It's not for them, daughter. It's for you. They need to forgive in order to truly be able to move on and heal. And God is saying, I know that it's heavy. It's a lot. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take more than 6 pallbearers to carry that casket. It's a heavy load. Okay, but he's calling them to forgive.
Oh, it says, I know this is a heavy a decision to bury the hatchet. Your spouse, the they feel like it's so heavy because they're not only trying to come and apologize and reconcile and confess, they want to marry you. So it's just like this is a very big decision to ask for forgiveness and then to break it down on one knee right after that and a proposal. You get what I'm saying? And it says it'll take more than 6 pallbearers to carry the casket. You're like, Lord, I need you on this. God has shown your spouse where they were going wrong with you. the things that they have done wrong to you. And for some, they're like, man, I did this to her, but I did so and so way worse. You know what I mean? Like I dogged this person out. And they are looking at the overall sin trespasses that they did towards others, right? God is going to usher some of these spouses behind the scenes. This may not be something that you are able to see or even witness. In some cases, you will be able to witness or even hear about it after the fact. But God has led your spouse to apologize to more people than just yourself, right? This whole confession and all that, when I got deliverance, I was led to apologize to so many different people, as many people as I heard that I could, that I had access to. The Lord nudged me to go and to apologize to them and confess to them and to tell them my mindset and things like that that was going on, so that they and I can both get closure about the situation. So it's deeper than just you and your spouse's confession and reconciliation and all that. But yeah, it says I put the man in manipulation when I pay your rent, and that is an obligation to our attachment. Then I sprinkle a little Mercedes and fashion. If that is not enough for you, well, maybe go back then. Okay, you effing do that spot that I got for you, Jesus. You gave him a reason to steal my name. That's some weak stuff. They text and proof to my phone. Our heart is in pieces. You keep your option open for real. That's some meat stuff. Sis, you got to be kidding me, like nieces and nephew. I keep rescuing leeches. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Yeah. So I'm trying to do this in a chunk so I go to bed because I'm ready to eat and go to sleep. Okay, so these spouses use finances, okay, as a mean to make up for their poor character when they were operating and when they were being influenced and edged on by demons. Demons were giving them bright, stupid ideas. Hey, go to the strip club, go bring this girl to let her see you throw 5,000 in cash, and so on and so forth. You get what I'm saying? And they were doing stuff like that. But some of them had quite literally put their names, co-signed for vehicles, and or zero down the vehicle and got it for a check. Prodigal stuff. Got them clothes that they really couldn't afford because they're trying to impress this chick. It says that's not enough for you. Well, baby, go back then. They found out that they were being cheated on by the counterfeit, and that's why some of this took so long, because there was a whole bunch of drama going on with your spouse and a counterfeit, and God wanted for them to be cheated on. And I said this years ago, and somebody else gave me confirmation that their spouse they were with somebody for 4 years, and on the fourth year, him. And what happened was, after she cheated on him, that made it to where the bridge was burned. God is not just closing the door, he's burning bridges. That man is never going to think about crossing that path with that counterfeit again. Okay. He closed doors that no man can open, and so on and so forth. So just to get back into it, so some of them got caught, the counterfeit got caught with the home they shared, apartment they shared, sleeping with the person. Some of these counterfeits dealt with the brothers, dealt with the sister, whatever the case may be, these counterfeits were not faithful. And God asked them several times, return to your wife, return to your wife. He was telling them to return to their wife or husband. They did not listen. They got cheated on. Some got STDs, and that's how they found out. Whatever the case may be, it was a lot of stuff going on. But the spouse was being manipulative. This is divine insight. You gave him a reason to speak on my name. Now they feel stupid. Okay, it feels stupid that they thought that person will be loyal over you in some cases, because some of them were more they was unattractive. They were just unattractive. They didn't look as good as you. They say, this person is not attractive. This person should be faithful to me, so on and so forth. It says. Then it says Jesus in the middle of that, which that was like one verse back. But Jesus, when this happened with the counterfeit, they literally cried out to the Lord. Oh, now you want my attention. Lord, petty, so he listened. They sought the Lord, and he heard, and he heard, and he answered. Go stand in the corner, because I don't know why you threw that. Go stand in the corner now. I'm not playing. Go stand now. In your room, in your room, in your room, in your room. It's the audacity for me. And it said they texting proof to my phone. Some of them, it was proof sent from Instagram, stuff like that, that they were unfaithful. And it says, you keeping your options open for real. So now some of them had tried to return to you after this. Maybe they said, oh, me and my girl broke up, me and my dude broke up, whatever the case may be. You were the first person on their mind after all this drama, right? And let's just say the Lord hid your availability or did not permit you to show them how available you were, because once again, when people say this person ran off, this is how it looks in the eyes of other people, and this is why God does certain things. The person leaves, they act foolish, they go get somebody else, and then the moment that they run back to you, you're like, yeah, let me hurry up and embrace it. God may make you take some time, maybe 30 days, 2-3 months of you keeping them at a distance, watching them, looking at their fruit, using discernment before he just says, yeah, welcome them back in. Because many people, you don't have the respect that you want because you were the first person to show someone to not respect you. You have to teach people how to treat you, and allowing for somebody to run off for X amount of time and then just come back in is foolish. It's not wise, okay? Other than the Lord is instructed. But in many of these cases, the Lord did not instruct. He wanted you to use discernment and look. If he does well with the little, if she does well with the little, then give her more, right? We're using biblical principles in our day-to-day walk, right? And it says, you keeping your options open. Some of you guys was like, well, I'm single, da 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 da, whatever it was. This is chestnut checkers. It was a very good, wise move to do. Okay. I remember Ella, God is reminding me of Ella when Ella's spouse returned. She said, I'm waiting until marriage to have sex, right? Because he was touching on her leg or whatever. And she was like, okay, it's pressure happening. Let me make this boundary known. She did not say, although she knew, because Ella did tell us right on YouTube like a year or two before she even married her spouse, my baby daddy is my spouse. We gonna get married one day. But she did not reveal to him in that moment of him touching her, although he came to confess, she was still wise. And she said, in general, in his mind, I'm pretty sure brother was thinking, let me lock in and marry this girl because she's saving herself. And I don't want anybody else to have her. Do y'all get where I'm going with this? But anyways, it says, keep your options open for real. That's some me stuff, sis. You gotta be kidding me, like nephews and nieces. They want some type of friendship with you. They want to be your best and your friend before you guys, whatever. They want even for if there was a rough patch for you guys to still be able to communicate very well. Then it says, I keep on rescuing leeches. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. They have reaped the fruit of their women. They made these women the way that they were because they sat up there and put money in the play in the first place. They literally did that because they have poor character. When you see men that's like, let me buy you this, let me do this, let me do that, these are the type of men that will say, I did this for you and I did that for you type of men. You don't want that. Many of these spouses did not have good character. They have poor character, so they use money to persuade these counterfeits in other ways.
Okay.
Go ahead, sis girl.
So the father was kind of downloading to me as far as like this also represents like hypothetical conversations that he's been having with you guys as spouses. Okay. So in the past, he gave me the song Maybe I Deserve by Tank, where he allowed them to sit in their thought process and imagine you guys with other men or other women as if the shoe was on the other foot to give them a different perspective of looking at everything. What if your wife, what if your husband went out and did everything you did to them, to you? How would you feel? So I'm going to share some with you guys. So I had a conversation with my spouse one day where he said, what if a man and a woman come together and they have an agreement that that man is able to do whatever he wants to do as long as that woman is taken care of? This is what this conversation is getting is giving. Okay, I put the man in manipulation. I put the man in manipulation. A lot of them feel like if I pay the bills, if I bring home the bacon, if I'm taking care of the household, I should be able to do what I want to do. I put the man in manipulation. When I pay your rent, that is an obligation to our attachment, meaning it's understood that if my position is the breadwinner, if my position is to come in and take care of the household, that's my obligation to our attachment. That's the part that I play. Then I sprinkle in a little Mercedes and a little fashion. I'll get you little trinkets here and there. I'll keep you in the nicest outfit, the nicest clothes and stuff like that. Like I said, a lot of them had the mind frame of I'm going to provide monetarily, then you are submissive to me. You're under my submission. I do what I want to. If that's not enough for you, well, baby, go back then. Like if this arrangement is not enough for you, if you can't do this, then so be it. You doing dude at the spot that I just got for you. So this is where um God is kind of coming in and he's like, okay, you want this arrangement. You think that's what you want? Okay, you're the breadwinner. You want her to submit to you. You want to be able to do you. So what if she pull a you on you? What if she bring a person back to the house that you guys share? What if she went out there and it represented you in the same way that you're representing her? How would you feel? So then it's you gave him a reason to speak on my name. That's some weak. They texted proof to my phone. So like I said, it's like the song Maybe I Deserve. So it's like, okay, if they go out there and they sleep with other women, these women have been they've had access to your spouse, maybe been all up in your house, maybe reaping your benefits with them, buying them stuff. So God has literally had a conversation with them. Okay, these women start playing on their phones. These women start bragging about how they've been in their house and had their men or whatever else. You think that that's something you want. You're trying to have your cake and eat it too, or you have tried to have your cake and eat it too, whether you're just entertaining the thought or whether you're trying to be manipulative to tweak the situation to how you can benefit. But if this was to take place, if this was even something that she agreed to, you would be hurt behind this. Your feelings would be hurt. Sis, you got to be kidding me, like nieces and nephews. So this, like I said, this some spouses felt like they were the prize. I bring a lot to the table. I this and I that. So they did not see your value or your worth at first. So they're like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Like, you want me to make like what benefit do I have from doing this, right? I keep on rescuing leeches. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I can't believe it. Some of them were even comparing you to the counterfeit as far as them feeling like the counterfeits were leeching off of them. But the thing about it is, in order to have a leech, in order to have somebody that gets that close to you to suck the so-called life force out of you or to use you, you have to give them some type of access to you. They were going out in the world creating these situations with the counterfeits, whether they was so-called tricking on them and like I said, paying for this or buying them compare you to where one the difference is God has appointed you and assigned you to your just like he assigned your spouse to you. So you have no dealings with the counterfeit that you don't even compare. But this is how they see it. Oh, I did all that for her. I did all that for this one. I did all that. And I'm supposed to do this and I'm supposed to do that. And you so-called bring nothing to the table. Like, so God has been talking to them about that. Be careful of what you think that you want. Be careful of trying to manipulate the situation because if the shoe was on the other foot, you think you wouldn't care, but you actually would. Your feelings would be hurt. If she did not value your marriage, like you're so-called not wanting to value the marriage when it comes to her, you couldn't handle it. A lot of people, this is the thing too, a lot of people think that they can handle the idea of open relationships or open marriage or whatever else till it's time for that person to be in that position that they want to be in. A lot of men like open relationships because they like to say that, oh, I can mess with other women. I can do this. let the woman go and get another dude. Then all bets are off the table. They don't like that. So God is like, look, you might want to rethink your stance on how you feel marriage works, or being monogamous, or in an actual committed relationship, because if the shoe was on the other foot, you would not want to share your wife with anyone else. So, son, sit down, have a seat, go back to the drawing board, and let's rethink this, because that ain't the move.
He had dropped in my spirit too. Says you got to be kidding me, like nephews and nieces. Your spouse has been having a sense of humor, although they've been in the storm. So just know that your spouse does have a sense of humor. You might not have been able to see that side of them, or you may have, and that will be a comfort.
Yeah, and then
the next part says, go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Oh, too many wire transfers bound to have a good girl's morals tangled, rent-free penthouse and van cafe floral bangles, and plenty more examples that you have going door the explorer outside while I turn a blind eye because it's more than painful. Yeah, I think also I put the man in manifestation. Either I'm too numb to do this stuff or the city is changing. I bump into people and they act like we're strangers. Random intrusive thought, but what happened to Tanz's angels? Okay, so I'm gonna pause right there. Your spouse may have money to where it's not going to be a problem. Somebody has said that, but what he was bringing to my mind was a word that I gave out. Now, lust does not cure, marriage does not cure lust, right? When your spouse gets back, he may or she may have a problem with lust. Lust goes beyond sex. It goes into some people lust after money. That's why you see some people selling their soul and things like that for X amount of dollars, stuff like that. But to get into the physical part of it, do not deprive your spouse of intimacy. This is something the Lord will bring to them, that they're struggling with lust. If they're coming back and they're wanting to have a bunch of sex and things like that, hang in there, baby, hang in there. All right, continue to pray for them. But also, they do have the want to pay every bill that you have. Okay. It says Van Cleef floral bangles, jewelry. They want to give you all the fine things. It says plenty more examples that you had going during the explore outside. They want to take you traveling. They want to travel with you. Some of them have done all this with the counterfeits. What the Lord is reminding me. I released another word a while back where he said, like, some of these spouses are going to come back with no money, like the prodigal son, right? The prodigal son spent his inheritance, and there was a moment that in scripture his brother was like, you spent money on prostitutes out of nowhere, and he was basically trying to, some people are like the prodigal brother, right? You're the standing wife and you're like, you spent all that money on the counterfeit X, Y, and Z, right? But just remember not to carry that mindset. Don't have that mindset, right? Forgive them for the things that they did, the way that they spent. The Lord will place you guys in a financial stable relationship at some point. Okay, it might not come immediately, but it's going to come. Like I was saying before, once it comes, it stays. It says I also put the man in manifestation. Some of them are speaking life over things, and they will speak life into the finances. Some of them are quite literally into new age belief systems where they believe in, like I said earlier, 369 or manifesting, whatever the case may be. It says either I'm too numb or this S word or the city is changing. The Lord reminded me of the scripture that says you are a city on a hilltop. You cannot be hidden, right? You being the city, you have been changing for the good, for the kingdom of heaven, right? The Lord is definitely using that to speak on your character and how you are. Like, in other words, he's giving you flowers. Because I bump into people and they act like we're literally strangers, right? People have been acting funny with your spouse. Okay, then it says random intrusive thought, but what happened to Taz's angels? What's funny is Drake dropped this song maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, right? And I had a random intrusive thought to go look up what happened to Taz's angels, and I was only able to find one of them. But I just thought that was so funny how it wasn't a coincidence that I had got that thought, and then this song came out right after that, maybe 24 to 48 hours after, and Drake said the same thing. But anyways, and even that, from a standpoint of a woman that's not homosexual, these girls, Taz's angels were basically like escorts. Okay, they would get paid. They made a lot of content and money, and word was they were sleeping around or whatever. But anyways, some of these may have been looking at old stuff. You know, there's certain porn stars that well were well known or are well known and things like that. They're looking into that. I talked about masturbation heck can affect marriage, right? You go and you spill your seed somewhere else, and then now it's time to have sex with your spouse, and you don't even have the ammo for it because you done used it somewhere else in the shower, you know, just things like that. So keep that in mind for whoever that may be for. And it says so many people that's not around from that generation, right? Your spouse is able to see how the generations have changed over time and the mess that we're really walking in. But Eddie, didn't I put you on timeout? Oh, you're off timeout. So that made you manifest. So we're just gonna walk you forever. Okay.
Okay. So the too many wire transfer is bound to have a good girl's morals tangled, the rent-free penthouse and the Van Cleef floor bangles, and plenty more examples that had you going Dora the Explorer outside while I turned a blind eye because it's more painful. I think I also put the man in manifestation. Either I'm too numb to this ish or the city is changing. I bump into people and they act like we literally strangers. So a lot of them are going off of past experiences with um with counterfeits, right? They've had situations where they might have provided certain things, yes, but they feel like the moment there's somebody that could take care of the counterfeit a little better than they could, or had a little bit more money than they could, came along, they jumped ship. Hence the had you going Dora the Explorer outside. They feel like they were searching high and low for something or somebody else to get into, and that's what happened. Also on this part, they and it says while I turned a blind eye because it was more pain, it was more than painful. They knew they were willing to overlook it because they didn't want to have to admit that it had even happened to them. Because remember, these are men and women that at one point, one wasn't giving people the time of day, two had made up in their mind that they couldn't be hurt, they couldn't be penetrated, and somewhere along the way, it happened. They fell in love with the person they were supposed to just be a fly by night booty call or whatever with, right? That person had the power to hurt them, and they did. But they tried to act like it did not hurt because in their eyes it made it less painful. At least that's what they told themselves. I think I also put the man in manifestation. So they also feel like that, you know how like when you overthink situations, you feel like overthinking, and then there's power in tongue and your words, right? So when you sit there and overthinking, you're always prepared for the worst. Then you kind of make room for the worst to happen at the same right time, right? They feel like every time they think about something, or every time that they, oh, this person gonna end up cheating on me. I'm gonna get with this person, they're gonna do this and they're gonna do that, and then it ends up happening, right? So they feel like they kind of predict or almost cause those things that they overthink to actually take place. Either I'm too numb to this ish or the city is changing. Their mindset is changing. God is taking them from always thinking the worst or being prepared for the worst, hoping for the best, and just letting go and letting God and trusting Him. He's urging them to trust themselves with Him. The fact that He has their best interests at heart. I'm not going to bring you a spouse that's going to hurt you. I bump into people and they act like we literally strangers. So because of this mindset change, and not only the mindset change, but the heart change and the work that God is doing in them, they have become unrecognizable to the people that they used to hang with, to the people that they used to have things in common with. They no longer have those things in common with them anymore. And because they don't share the same interests, they are almost unrecognizable to this person in the way that they have changed, matured, and the growth that has taken place in them. Um, Also, with the random intrusive thought, but what happened to Ted's angels? So many people that's not around from that generation. So a lot of these spouses, like I said, they kind of battle with God over the fact of, and this might not even be so much as now, but in the past, how could you be God, but you let so many bad things happen to so many good people, right? And that kind of, I feel like, ties in with the church hurt too, right? They had a hard time understanding free will. Okay, so it's like random intrusive thought, but what happened to Tad's angel? So that's kind of like a metaphor to like what happened to my friend, or what happened to you. You're supposed to have them covered. You're supposed to be watching over them. What happened to you keeping us? Why do all the people that I love keep passing away? So many people that's not around from that generation. So many people from my past. So many people from my lifetime has passed away, has been taken too early. What happened? Ninjas want to talk about a battle. I'm battling patience. They're like they have overcame a lot of the stuff that would trigger them in the past, or a lot of even like competition, or a lot of stuff that people are still concerned with as far as the world they have overcome. So they're like, you're thinking about this, your mind is on this. I'm on patience. I'm on to bigger and better things. I've got other stuff on my mind other than the things that you are worried about. I battle frustration. So they're literally battling like with long suffering, right? They're battling with being frustrated at not only the journey, but like sis said earlier, how long the journey is taking. Every time I think I jump through one hoop, something else comes. They're frustrated with the things that they're having to give up and the fact that they're being asked to give more. They're frustrated with the fact that they have to walk a straight and narrow and be obedient in order to even get the things that God has for them. Just I'm gonna just finish out the page and then so like you said, we can kind of knock it out in chunks. I'm battling 40 dog, I'm battling agents. So a lot of them are realizing that the time that they thought they had, they really don't have. When the Father say, when Jesus said, "I'm come like a thief in the night," literally, like a lot of them thought that they had it together. I can go out here and play. I can go out here and take my time. And no, God is like tick tick. Like time is going past. Like you're aging. You're not getting any younger. Get it together. I'm battling the fact that the album ain't even dropped yet, and already they blank complaining. So a lot of them feel like their testimonies, their life, their walk has only just begun. They haven't even hit the height of where God is taking them to, but already they have people looking at them and putting expectations on them, and just of what they think it should be, how far they think they should be, and they walk with it, what it should look like, who they should, all you know what I mean? Like they're like, I haven't even reached that point yet, and they already complaining. F it, I'll battle the label. F it, I'll battle the majors. I'll battle the stations till my blank is back in rotation. So they're like, I'm going to keep pushing. I don't care who next. I don't care what warfare I got to overcome until my testimony is heard, until I'm able to really walk in what God has for me. I'm stepping on next. Shout out to the real fans that knew what I had in the basement. So they're like, shout out to the real ones who knew that I had it in me, who knew that I could do it, that I would do it. Shout out to those people that have never switched up to the day ones.
Oh, you pausing?
Yeah.
Oh, before I rock those to sleep. Okay. No, baby. It says ninjas want to talk about a battle. I'm battling patience. Ninja, I battle frustration. I'm about to turn 40, dog. I'm battling agent. God talks about like those who walk in integrity, blessed are their children, right? But he also, like she said, giving them the fruit of long suffering. This is something that you need for the next level in the spirit. You have to overcome your long suffering test to get more, right? Many people, like I said, fall off when it's time to produce that. They're cool when it's kindness, when it's gentleness, when it's being patient, even sometimes. But that long suffering is what gets people to fall off spiritually, right? So your spouse, like she said, it says battling. I'm battling the fact that the album ain't even dropped yet, and they A's complaining. The album, essentially, how the Lord gave it to me, is this union. Like you guys haven't even gotten married yet, came into a connection yet, reconciled yet, whatever the case may be. And there's already people that are hating on y'all, hating the fact that they love you, that they're interested in you, so on and so forth. And it says, F it, I'll battle the label. They're like, I'll go against the principalities, F it, I'll battle the majors, the rulers, the judges of high places, right? Luke 10:19, I bettered the stations till my A back in the rotation. They're like, I'm not stopping until I get the goal that the Lord has said is for me. Shout out to the real friends and the real fans that knew what I had in the basement. There's people that knew about their light and they were actually for them. Some of these people they can no longer find. Others it's like you are that other person that knew all along. It says shout out to the fake fans. I thought we had an arrangement. Um, I dropped the thought. Okay, shout out the fake people. Okay, I thought we had an arrangement. Some of these spouses thought that they'll be able to keep like the fake people around, but keep them at a distance. But the Lord is definitely showing them otherwise. Like these people, when they're compromised, will come to harm you, still kill or destroy you, right? So yeah, that's something that the Lord is actively talking to this person about. Shout out to how many times have you tried to tell me I had a replacement? They're not listening to the voice of the enemy. They're not listening to their mother say, "Oh, I don't like her." They're not listening to the father. They're not listening to anyone but God. How many times are you about to ask if I had a vacation? So some of them were getting frustrated because the enemy keeps coming with the same old, and they're tired of even talking to them. How many artists have I had to witness do a bad imitations? Okay, they are able, like when you start being able to see deeper in the spirit, the Lord will even download to you things that are going on in celebrities' lives, okay? And it goes beyond celebrities. It's just regular people, just people in general lives, right? But God has been showing them and really heightening their discernment and their gifts to where they're able to see. And one of the reasons why he's showing them celebrities is because they have a call to basically have them come into deliverance and repentance and start walking with Christ again, or just in general with Christ, right? Ninjas want me to be men all out of shape, or rattled and shaken. They are rooted in the Lord. Finally, God cannot, they cannot be taken from God's hand. My dad got cancer right now. We battle in stages, whatever it is. It could be the physical cancer that one of their parents is going through, or just in general, they have been battling different stages. Okay, some of these parents are genuinely they've been in a midlife crisis since they were in their 30s, right? And it's traveled all the way to their 50s and their 60s. It says, trust me when I say there's plenty things that I'd rather be facing for real. Your spouse is maturing, so they feel like there's bigger fish to fry. It's more things that I can be doing in life than to be catering to these types of people. And some of these people is because they don't plan on changing no time. Okay? They plan on taking their behaviors, their actions, their mindsets to the grave. And your spouse is very serious. This is the most serious they have ever been before. about how they're moving and the things that they're spending time on. They're being intentional now. And that's one of the things the Lord wanted them to come back with was clarity, intention, and accountability. And this time, ask me to dig deeper. I'll gladly explain it. They are learning to articulate themselves in a healthy, clear way that will be effective. And it says, yeah, so some of them, people, when you have clear boundaries, I'm telling you, you see it in relationships with parents. They're like, I'm the elder, you got to respect me. It's not disrespectful to state a boundary to a parent. It's not at all. But some parents, because they never had that, they never seen that growing up, they'll try to say, oh, you got to respect me. Like, no, I'm telling you in a calm tone and a nice tone that I'm not going to allow you to do this because I am grown as well. This is my house. These are my kids. Parents try to swipe that parent card, or whoever tries, siblings, whoever will try to swipe that on this card, and your spouse is implementing healthy boundaries. And this is going to be needed in many cases because these mamas and these daddies and these aunts and these family members are really just quite literally out of line on so many different levels. They're nosy, they're diggers, they're monitoring spirits, they're unclean. You know what I'm saying? They got familiar spirits. It's like just no, 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 no. So keeping them at a distance is wise and is of God. Boundaries are of God. The Bible says to guard your heart, right? So they're guarding their heart.
Okay, so it says, shout out to the fake fans. I thought we had an arrangement. So, like sis said, one, it could be looked at in two different ways. The fakeness did not either get exposed to after that person had exposed themselves as fake, meaning they did something that caused God to be able to cause an exposure, which is how they learned that they were fake in the first place, meaning we had an arrangement, meaning I thought we was good. I thought you had my back. I thought you were supposed to support me and things of that nature. But then also I tell my kids there's a difference between friends and acquaintances. So even if they knew these people were not their friends, they at least thought that they were acquaintances. So they were at least going to play the position that they were given. And that was not the case. How many times have you tried to tell me I had a replacement? So a lot of these people, whether these were friendships or acquaintanceships, whether these relationships, whether these was family, right? They always made sure that they tell them that they could get better. I could do better. I could have better. Somebody can be in your position tomorrow. You know what I mean? Whether, like I said, whether that was relationships, friends, or whatever, they always told them that they had to replace somebody was on standby or I can have another you. How many times are you about to ask if I had a vacation? So somebody was trying to rage bait them, right? Asking them like, are you really living that lifestyle? Like, how many times you been on vacation? Have you had a break? Have you been to such and such? Have you had this amount of money to do the things that you wanted to do? Essentially, they was asking them like, see you this man, that woman, but what have you done? You got something to show for it? Like, have you been here? Have you been there? Have you taken trips? How many artists I've had to witness do bad imitations? So essentially, they're like, no matter how many times they said that they had someone better or that they had a replacement, the spouses have like let them know, or they feel as if like it's only one me. No matter how many times have you had to replace me, no matter how many times I've seen you try to put somebody else in my position. And this could even be family members, right? Like sis said, when you set boundaries, a person that has lost access or control over you will try to like they will take you out of their circle altogether because they're mad that they don't have that control. So let's say you went from doing to your for your parent, like I said, making runs for them, taking them places, taking them to the doctor's appointment, and you put boundaries up and you say, hey, you only call me when you need XYZ, but you don't call me when I need you, or you don't answer the phone for me or something. And that person will literally ghost you or try to replace you or whatever else. And they're like, hey, nobody have your back the way that I have your back. Nobody show up for you the way that I show up for you. Ninjas want me all bent out of shape, rattled and shaken. They want a reaction. Your spouse realized that a lot of people just wanted a reaction. A lot of people will do stuff to bait you into an argument. And this is the thing, the enemy is trying to cause distractions at this point. He wants them to be distracted from the walk that they're on, the heart postures that they are operating in, the place that God has them at. Right now, they are operating or getting to a place of being ready to receive. Receive what? Receive you, receive the things and the people and the places that God has for them, the things that He has always intended them to have. But when the enemy doesn't want you to have something, when he knows that you're close to your breakthrough, he will send counterfeits and different people to you to try to get you out of character, right? That's why the Bible say remain blameless. He wants something to be able to accuse your spouse of. My dad got cancer right now. We battling stages. So your spouse is in a headspace of I'm going through too much. Like I got people that is dealing with real stuff. I got heavy stuff that I'm dealing with right now. Like I'm not even they're aware of what Satan is trying to do and his plots and his plans to try to delay their progress or to set them back in some kind of way. We're battling stages. We're dealing with warfare. There's levels to this, new levels, new demons, right? Also, I was telling sis earlier that God kind of gave me a download. So we know when people are intentionally trying to interfere with what God has for you, your spouse, or just his children in general, God will warn them to take their hands off of you or to leave you alone. And if they don't do it, God will physically remove them, whether that's ailments, whether that's by punishment, or whether that's by death, guys. And it sucks, but it's reality of it. And this can be their mother, this can be their father, this can be whatever family member it is, whoever this might be. The Lord has repeatedly told this person, sit down, move out the way, stop, release my child. And they have not done so. So the Lord has afflicted them. Okay. So when it say we battle in stages, God is literally calling your spouses to release the people, place, and things that He is telling them to release. A lot similar to the things that you had to do. You know, God, when He first woke you up, might have told you, quit the drinking. I want you to release the smoking. I want you to stop fornicating. Once He got you together, then He worked on your circle. I want you to stop dealing with your mama. I want you to stop dealing with these friend circles. I want you to exit these things out of your life. It's the same thing with the spouses. As He's been working with the spouses to remove and deliver them from some of the mindsets that they had, some of the fleshly worldly thinking that they had, He's also physically releasing them and causing them to remove these individuals from their life. And if they don't, and if those people did not, then He's forcefully doing it. Trust me when I say there's plenty things that I'd rather be facing. They're like, look, I'd rather be facing so much other than what I have to do. Like sis said, is like what she quoted earlier, the things I do, I don't want to do, or the things that I want to do, I don't do. It's a lot more things that they rather be facing right now. It's a lot more things that they'd rather be doing, but they're dying to flesh. They're being obedient. For real, and this time, ask me to dig deeper, I'll gladly explain. They're like, I'm for real this time. No, no for fake, no plan, no lukewarmness, no half in, half out. I'm for real. And this time, if you were to ask me, this time, if you were inquired to how I feel or telling me to share, I'll gladly explain it. Like no more prying, no more having to dig, no more having to peel back layers. They've done the work and they're going to openly share these things with you guys. And that sums up the word, guys. So God has been working on your spouses. He has been causing them to go deeper. He has been calling them to reflect on themselves, who they used to be, the places and the heart postures they operated in, who they were versus who He's calling them to be. Like I said, people, placing things that they have to leave in the past, things that they have done to other people, things that have been done to them, all in an effort to deliver them from these things, to call them and cause them to go higher and to elevate, guys.
And say your ministry name, Cash App, PayPal?
Okay, so my ministry name is at Stand on Business Ministries. My Cash App is $Jam 1990. And you can find this on my page as well. And you can also find my email. So if you guys are in a need of prayer or anything, you also can send me an email to my email address.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Go ahead and follow Sister Jamie if you ain't already following her. If you guys feel led to sow into this word, y'all got Jamie's information. My Cash App is following his voice. My PayPal is following Holy Spirit. And I will just see y'all next time, y'all. I will see y'all next time. This was long.
That's reach as well, guys. And that you are to minister to your heart in the way that God sees fit.